Welcome to another episode of Drawn the Raid podcast, where we dive deep into the raw, unfiltered stories of those who stared down the darkness and emerged with lessons that hit like a gut punch. I'm your host, Terry. We're not demonstrating the depth solo. We're also joined by our behind-the-scenes producer, Boss Lady, who asked, because, she's going to be a nice lady sometimes, instead of trolling me behind the scenes, that I wanted a civilian aspect on this that isn't fully military related. So she's joining us. But today, our guest's main focus is Anthony Dyer, a man whose life reads like a battlefield, epic cross with a soul-searching memoir. Anthony grew up in the rugged hills of Sylva, North Carolina, where small-town roots planted the seeds of resilience that would carry him through a storied military career. From his early days in fire and rescue to becoming a combat special missions aviator in special operations aviation. Anthony's path was forged in the fire of high-stakes missions demanding precision, courage, and unbreakable brotherhood. But as well, we'll soon explore the real battles often raged long after the rotor stopped spinning. He's the publisher and writer behind Moonchild. He is, so far, been very, very great communicating, talking back and forth. He's very, very, very much well with me. He's also advocate for military veterans and PTSD, addiction, and depression. So welcome, Anthony Dyer, or we're going to call him Tony.
Thanks, Terry, man. I appreciate you having me. Good to be up with both of you guys tonight.
Oh, it's not a problem, brother. It's been a good time having back and forth with you. We started week before Thanksgiving, I believe, and then even after that, every once in a while, having text messages back and forth, just seeing how you doing.
Oh yeah. I've been catching up on a few episodes, man. A lot of the Batman versus Superman conversation, who had went. Yeah, it's cool to see all you guys different takes on those.
Yeah, I tend to be more the aggressive side of things and things like that, which I think you can understand a lot, because it doesn't matter what you say; it matters what the message behind it and things like that. And my transition out of the military was not pleasant, as you can imagine. So yeah, it's definitely gave me a fucking name around most internet spaces in general, because they're like, you're so positive in what you write. It's like, yeah, but when they talk to you, you're like, you're a dick. I was like, thanks.
Yeah, man. I've noticed, like, getting out, just I've had to tone it down, like, myself, right, in a civilian work environment, just like, because like, dark humor is a big part of deployments, right? And like, the pranks are a big part of deployments. Everything that comes with that, I would say things, man, and sometimes people in the office would cringe, and I'd be like, shit, man, I don't have that uniform on no more, man. So you know how I have to watch what I say a lot. I guess I'm trying to say.
I do know HR was my best friend a lot.
I wouldn't say best friend.
Because I got, like, they're like, that's sexual harassment, blah, blah. I was like, look, he looked great. Nobody said anything about him looking great. So I made the comments like, yo, bro, I'll suck your dick, because that's how good you fucking look. I'm not that way, but that's how good it look. I got to HR. And then, of course, the wildly stool jokes, everything like that,
Yeah.
They're like, you can't say stuff like that. It's like, I'm not going to do it. It's a joke. It's funny. It brings up laugh. Everybody else laughed except that one guy. But I'm pretty sure he's the one who reported me.
Yeah, and there's always, like, I'm the type of guy, man, like, the funniest stuff is like somebody, like, I don't know, farting at church or something. It's those moments when you least expect it, when somebody would do something hilarious, and that's how you break that silence a lot, though, break up the monotony,
Oh yeah, it's a fucking fantastic time when that stuff happens, man. It's just,
yeah.
I think people are too high strung, and that's why they can't enjoy it.
Yeah.
Quit worrying about what people think about you. Just have fun.
Oh yeah.
All right, Juju, you got anything you want to talk about right now before we start?
Oh, I think I already know what this is all gonna be about, so I'm okay with this.
Okay. All right, so we're gonna start at the beginning. So you grew up in the Appalachian town of Sylva, North Carolina. How was growing up in that town, in your own words, honestly?
It was. I didn't get exposed to a lot, to be honest with you. There was I was the very sheltered life at that point in my life, and experience. I had none of that, and as small towns, I often say that, like, everyone's business and they know yours, and that can either go really good or really bad for you, depending on the business, right? But yeah, it was at the same time, people had each other's backs, and a sense of community was strong. Like, if somebody was hurting, right, like all the middle class and lower class people like myself, we would, like, come together and make things happen on whether it was Thanksgiving or whatever the case was, sort of this time of year reminds me of that a lot. Another cool thing was like, if you want a moonshine, man, you'd literally go to your neighbor's house, and it was just a way of life, a norm, so.
Yeah, I love that. Yeah, I grew up in a small town, Groveton, Texas, so we had the same thing. Like, it's isolated, no city environment, like actually helping like make it work out. We'd see things on TV, we're like, that's made up, and then you like go to like for me, go to Houston and say, there's actually spinners on fucking cars.
Yeah,
that's real. That's not in the movies.
Yeah. So in North Carolina, they have I think it's called a donk. Have you heard about this?
Yeah, I've heard about that.
The truck that like sits lower in the back.
Yeah, the Carolina squat they do.
Yeah, squat. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, and I know I never got into that.
Yeah, that right there, man. I think it was the funniest time, because I remember when the notice came out for like all police departments put out every social media thing when they came illegal. I was like, I made a meme so fucking fast, like, oh, all you guys about the other half of your lip kit better get that money you got saved up for it and just put it on there.
Yeah, man, you could always tell like when people would get like their tax return, man. They'd have three, the spinners were big back then, right? And then they'd have three going clockwise, for example. Then the one random one would be like counterclockwise, But the rims would be worth more than the whole vehicle a lot of times,
Oh yeah, especially like you see like a Cutlass that was like destroyed, dogged out, and then all of a sudden have the nicest rims on it. And like, I think your priorities a little fucked up there, but
yeah. But yeah, it was like looking back, it's all part of the culture though, and Petey Pablo is obviously huge back home and stuff like that.
Yeah, for us it was I think here is Paul Wall, Zero, now Big X the Plug, things like that. The I think the Mexican OT, I think that one's for here, Texas. So yeah, it's one of those things of like, yeah, I came back here, start hearing it, like, what the fuck is that?
Oh yeah.
But yeah. So you had a good childhood, so it seems like, good stable. Obviously, small towns like that we grew up in, you get in a little trouble here and there, but everybody knows. Everybody fucking knows it. Like,
oh yeah, and that's really what sort of led me to the Air Force at the time. I think it's 6 months from graduating, give or take. There, my senior year, I was still 17, and my dad gives me that cliche dad talk, typical dad talk of like, it's time to either get a job, go to college, or get out. Like, he saw me going nowhere, and I was honestly going nowhere. As a mediocre basketball player, I didn't want to go to college, and I talked to like actually a Navy recruiter first. I don't tell a lot of people that, but I talked to a Navy recruiter first, and he was talking to me about being on a boat for 6 months, and I was like, man, I don't want to do that. And I talked to an Army guy, and then I was like, I'm going to talk to my dad about sort of the nice things or the quality of life of the Air Force and the TDY golf money, stuff like that. Good chow halls, right?
Good chow halls.
Yeah, and there I was, man, July 18th of 2000 on my first fixed wing flight from Charlotte to San Antonio, Texas for basic training.
Nice. Love that. So you said you did start at, like, at first you said Navy. When you went to go to the Navy as a recruiter, do you have a job in mind that you like, I kind of want to do this, or do you just like, I just want to see?
Yeah, I just wanted to honestly like get out of the town I was at and see the world, man. Like I didn't have a desire to go to college, and a lot of people don't realize you do some college sort of almost mandatory, even though I was an enlisted person, right? But I didn't have any desire to do any of that, man. I just wanted to see the world and party and all that stuff. Live that dorm life for a little bit.
Yeah, that's fucking awesome, man. Okay, so that's good. So since we're going over that, so when you did join the Air Force, what was your MOS at the time when you first started?
Yeah, so my first job was called a 2W1. It was a weapons loader, and basically that's a way of just saying you have three guys, this three person crew that loads the bombs and missiles on the F-15. Like I loaded the Strike Eagle F-15. Usually your one man would be like an NCO, and then your two man would prep the aircraft, the brew racks and stuff like that. Then the three man like I would drive the jammer. So they called us load toads. Basically, it's like a hydraulic lift truck. I don't know if you ever seen them in the Navy. I think they use them too.
Yeah, I use them.
Yeah, you spread the legs out and it looks like it's green. It's like a frog, So they called us load toads. Yeah, man, I was there at Seymour Johnson Air Force Base, my first base, for just over a year and some change, and that's when 9/11 happened.
Okay. So that's when 9/11 happened. After that, did everything then gear up, and did you get your first set of orders for deployment cut then, or was it like a little bit after that?
It was actually quite a bit after that. I would say like a real deployment. But I remember we loaded it was Noble Eagle. We loaded the fighter jets with AIM-120s, AIM-9s, and air-to-air missiles, right? And basically, I remember thinking like loading these things. I'm like still almost not 19 at the time, I guess, and I'm like, man, like if these missiles don't come back, that's the airliner, right? So there's that mental part of like, man, America's whole world had changed at that point, at 180, right? Everybody, I felt like we were a lot closer back then as a country. Like everybody was together, man, and but there was still part of me that was like, I'm sort of sitting on the sidelines, like I thought about those 343 firefighters that ran in, man, and the policemen as well. I'm like, what's different in someone like that's DNA, right? Like those men and women that ran towards that and knowing it's almost instant death, right? Like there's something to that, and I always wanted to do more and do bigger things. And then my 5th year mark, I finally got the chance to retrain into the fire department, the aircraft, fire and rescue, and we went to the it was in San Angelo, Texas. That one was the Lewis F. Garland Fire Academy, and you're in there with the Navy, Marines, the Army, different instructors. I had a gun instructor at one point teach me how to tie knots and stuff. But yeah, that was probably physically the hardest thing I had to do until that point in my career, and I did that for right about 5 years as well. Charleston Air Force Base, which is now Joint Base Charleston, South Carolina.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. So when you went from fire and rescue, because you did some CASEVAC too after that, didn't you? Or during that?
Yeah. So like there was probably 3 good structure fires, I would say. Everything on as you probably know, like on a ship or on a base, because it has to be so fire safe, right? So it's a good thing we're not working a lot, and so there was that part of it. But I went to Balad, Iraq was my first, I would call, deployment, as a firefighter there. And then there was a really good, they called it the bazaar, where they would sell different things, stuff like that. And I remember someone remember those big thick meat blankets? Yep. Someone laid those on some open wires, man. It took us, that was the hardest I've worked to this day in my whole life. It was like 12 hours just, constantly putting the wet stuff on the hot stuff. And I remember after we were done, man, they're giving everybody IVs, and it was, Iraq's hot as it is, but it was, a terrible day, man. But we got it out finally.
Okay. So you went loader, fire and rescue, and then from there, where did it go from there? When did you make the decisions like, okay, cool, I'm going to go to area gunner?
Yeah. So this is when my life really, really took a huge change, man. I was actually home on leave, and I was at a pizza joint, and there's this windy road, and I'm with some friends, and I'm on leave, and I look out, and I was like, man, I see those same cracks that had been there my whole life, the same cracks in the road. And what I'm really getting at is like, I'd been sitting on the sideline in the global war on terror. I felt like I got back to the fire station shortly after, and there was a book called Chosen Soldier by Dick Couch, and it's basically about the 12-man, the Green Beret teams, and what they go through, and then the Robin Sage exercise at the end and stuff. At the beginning of that book, there's the Isaiah 6:8, the send me verse, and this was well before, the movie Fury made it famous and all that stuff. Again, I went back to that moment, like what's different in like the tip of the spear men and women, like their DNA, where they go into these situations where like you don't know always if you're coming back, and that, to me, like that was our nation's very best in my mind. And I wanted to be part of that tip of the spear. And there's, what's it, like Heraclitus said, like the 1 in the 100. Like I knew physically, like I couldn't be like an operator, right? So I was like, what I can do though is be a aerial gunner and provide that close air support for those super ninjas, I call them, your SEALs, your Green Berets, your Rangers, and the Force Recon guys and stuff like that. And and that's what I took a lot of pride in all these years, man. And what I loved doing was making sure those guys got home to their family. And I've mentioned a couple of times in the gunship squadron, the 16th Special Operations Squadron, there's letters, man. And there's this one letter I looked at every day, and it's this Ranger holding his baby girl, right? And he's like, thank you to the 16th for your close air support rounds, because he got to go home and see his baby girl. And that was my whole why and reason, my identity, for years, man. And I chased that, and when you get out of the military and that dust settles and that loss of identity, man, that's a real thing that a lot of people, men and women, struggle with.
Yeah. I get that. Go ahead, Gigi.
I'm going to ask you a question that's a little bit sideways from this.
Yeah.
You're saying that your whole calling is to help other people who are running into the fire. Why don't you think you can run into the fire? From everything you've said, you have the skills and the requirements to do so. So why can't you run in?
I think that, like, as far as like the past tests alone, for like what those guys go through, like if you ever looked at like a PJ's past test or something like that, it's crazy. Like, I don't even know what it is, man, but it's really like almost superhuman, And I knew the running part, and especially the swimming part, man. I was never really a good good swimmer. You know, I knew I couldn't realistically do that. I went through some water survival training and all that, but yeah, it's a different level with those guys. And I think I just trying to be a realist, and I knew that I physically couldn't get through that. Or at least I made my mind up, right? Whether that's good or bad, that I could not do that.
You put your physical limitations on yourself mentally before you actually tried it.
Yeah.
Oh, I know you're not talking, Terry.
I tend to not put myself under limitations. I just keep going until I crash, and then I learned it's a bad thing now that I'm older. I learned that's kind of a bad thing to have.
Well, I'm gonna take this one step further for you. You both have served this country. And what makes you think that any one part of it is greater than the other? Serving is serving. Yes, there are parts that put you more in danger than some areas, but you're still helping each other, as you've said countless times. So what makes you think one part is greater than the other?
What do you mean by one part's greater than the other? You need to specify that.
Well, he keeps saying that, that he's being air support for these super ninjas. You're being the eyes that they can't. So you're helping them. You're a part of that. Why are you saying that they're way better than you when in fact you guys are just a team?
So I can answer this from this standpoint because I was FMF. So when you're a regular grunt unit, when you're just regular grunt unit, you're pushing all the intel, everything you get, just the whereabouts where certain hotspots are. Where hey, you're gonna go here, you're gonna have contact here, here, and here, and we don't know how many exactly, but they're going to be most likely to have contact here. But when you go there, you're expecting it. You already know that hey, we're gonna get in a fight here, and we're gonna come home. We're gonna get in a fight here, here, and here, and then we're gonna come back rendezvous here. But if you from them for like special operations, they go in blind 90% of the time because they have some intel, but it's nothing as precision as we're just put our main forces, drive them here, and then we know where the majority of them are. Might be stragglers here and there, might be IEDs, things like that, which you get used to, like cognitively you get used to seeing, like, okay, that don't go there, or you used to look at something like usually the people themselves, like especially over there in Afghanistan, they tend to act a little bit more wary because they know, like, certain aspects of Taliban are there or something like that's there. They're keeping their kids away from certain areas. They're like, if they're not going there, we're not going there, kind of things. But for him, I think from his standpoint, is like he has eyes in the skies. Yes, he's laying down support fire, but it's also the fact that he's not directly getting that fire unless somebody's shooting on the plane, and that's completely different too. But you can go ahead, Tony, how you want to talk about that one.
Yeah, so I think the book the right answer, right? The public affairs answer would be something to the effect of like all jobs are equal, right? And all have a big part, right? But I'm going to tell you, like, the difference is like a lot of times we launch, those guys are already getting shot at all day. Sort of to Terry's point, like they're already in the mix. They could have already had a casualty at that point, and so you're launching to give those guys as fast as you can to get them out of that situation. So at that point, yeah, they're more in the fight than I would ever be. Is the way I look at it. Does that make sense?
No, that makes completely sense. And thank you. I hate public affair answers.
Yeah. I try to be as realist as much as I can, but that's the honest truth. There's people that eat shit for this country, and there's people that don't. So.
No, that's understandable. But if we don't ask, we don't know. And I guarantee you that anyone on this podcast will know. And Terry, stop using acronyms because not everybody knows what they are.
I didn't even use the real acronym that time. Did I?
know, but yes, you
IED,
did.
An improvised explosive device.
Before you said something about Comzic. I was like,
yeah,
I had to go look that up, and I'm like, what the fuck are you going off script for?
My bad. That's just me.
I know, but not everybody is you, dumbass.
Yeah, I know. It happens like that. So since you said we went off script, I guess I'll come back because I was enjoying just listening.
I don't care if you go off script, it's fine. But when you say acronyms, I'm just like, where'd he pull that out of his ass from? How am I supposed to know that? Remember, civilian.
Yeah, I know. But remember, you know me for 6 years, so you should know I never stay on script.
I also know you don't sleep, and?
Yes, true. So we're going to go backwards a little bit, okay? Okay, so which parts of your childhood, good or bad, followed you into your adulthood and service? Like, people like have that, that eureka moment of like when they're kids, like, I knew I wanted to do this with my life. Or a bad thing is like, I need to fix that. I didn't know this was wrong with me, or I didn't know that was a real issue. But this right here is an issue. I need to fix it now. Because you've been living with it all your life. Because you never look at yourself the same as somebody else does.
Right. Yeah, and I think my grandfather at one point he dropped some hard truth on me at one point in my life, and I'll never forget the conversation. He was like, "Hey, do you remember your great 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 grandfather's name?" And I don't, And what he was getting at, I think, was illustrated really well. And I hate to use this as a comparison, but that new House of Dragons show, right, where that one guy's like, "What's this brief mortal life if not the pursuit of legacy?" And
Yeah.
I think that's what he's getting at in that sentence, right? Is like what we do in life, it truly does sort of echo in eternity, And there's no U-Haul behind a hearse, right? So you can't take nothing with you, and all you can really leave behind is a memory. If you think about how deep that is, just a memory of you.
Yeah,
and so
that's
like
true.
he was making the point that you want to make that memory matter. So he let me know that at a really young age, sort of, and it was always not at the front of my mind, but it was definitely in the back. You know what I mean? And then also, I would say the importance of repetition. Like no matter what you do in life, there was this guy from New Jersey, this basketball coach came down, and his whole thing was he would sit there at this free throw line, man, and he would shoot like 100 free throws, and he just wouldn't miss. I swear to God, this guy would not miss, and it just blew my mind. And at the end of it, he's like, the key to success in anything in life is repetition. And what he's getting at is like, don't ever let someone outwork you, right? And whatever your profession is, And so I would say, if I could sum that up in 2 words, man, that it would be perseverance and legacy, right? And then the third word being repetition.
Repetition. That's a good one. It's a really good one. Okay. Right now, if you could describe yourself in 3 words before the military and 3 words after the military, what would they be?
I would say right now that I'm more loyal. I would say that I have a lot more empathy than I did before. And then lastly, I would say that there's a lot more resilience than I did not have when I was that 160-pound 17-year-old kid.
Yeah. Okay. That's good.
Yeah, I mean it's.
All right, Terry, your turn.
I know you were getting there. For myself, before the military, I think it'd be more empathetic and more, I guess it'd be carefree.
Yeah.
As well. And then, honestly, the third word probably had to be, I know it's not a good word most of the time, but probably fucking naive. Because, growing up in small towns and everything like that, it's just, you don't know how the real world works until you leave.
Oh, yeah.
And I was talking to somebody about it like a little while ago, and they're like, why did you think that you guys set up for failure? It's like, they said they wanted us to be the adults of this community when we grow up. So, but they didn't show us what else is out there to see what we can prepare ourselves for and things like that. Like, an example, like when you grow up in a small town, things like trauma and stuff like that aren't a big thing usually. They're like they're like one in a million kind of things that happen.
100%.
So, like, when that actually happened, and you had to deal with it, like, what the fuck do I do? How do I do this? They told us how this stuff works, but we don't know what to do with it.
Yeah, and I think that like it's sort of, I don't know if I mentioned this in the book, but I had to do a time capsule letter when I was in my senior year, and like, I went back home for this book signing, and my mom asked me if I wanted to open it, and I said no. She's like, well, why? And I'm like, because I can't change any of how I looked at the world when I was 17 or whatever the case was, right? Like, if I look back, I'm lost, man. It's, the whole roots and wings part of the book, I would say, is like, it's good to know where you come from and everything like that, and you get those values. But it's more important to really know where you're going, because you can change that in the present moment, right? And that's sort of the whole idea behind that, So
okay.
Did you have a question earlier, Juju?
I usually have questions. My question was more of, you didn't state what the 3 things you felt before you joined the military were, and then I was going to expound upon that, because you said about 13 minutes ago, when you were talking about your childhood, that you didn't feel like you were going to go to college because you didn't feel like there was anywhere to go. Why did you feel so dead-ended? Was it because you were in a small town? Or is it because you didn't know that there was other things out there? And if it was because you didn't know there's other things out there, why didn't you go find them?
I think a lot of it, to be honest with you, was probably laziness too. Like I had no desire, after like I failed like geometry in another class in high school. I didn't have great grades either, but like I just didn't have the work ethic and I didn't have the push to get something done, like a goal. Like maybe I set limits on myself even at that age, and I just didn't have the desire or drive to get to it.
Yes. My other question's for Terry. I know damn well you are not sitting over here saying I didn't know any better when you tell me all the time there's an internet. Do the research.
Yeah. I'm proud of you for doing the research, you know?
You're the
GTS. Google that shit.
Not even Google that shit. Before that, you could literally just go to the library. But the thing is, you're saying you grew up in a small town and didn't know how to process trauma. You're telling me you don't know how to process grief either. You don't know how to process excitement. Are you telling me that nothing in your life happened with those three things from 1 to the age of 18? And I know for a fact that it did.
Yeah, but I didn't know how to process it correctly. Not in a positive, progressive mindset.
And
not
I'm also
in the
assuming you
best
didn't
way.
know how to ask for help.
Absolutely not. I still don't. That's just me. That's just a bad habit that I don't think it's ever going to break.
Is that a thing for most married people?
Yeah, I would say that it is a very hard thing to be vulnerable. I found this out, and to ask the hard question to yourself. That was the hardest thing in the world for me to do.
So I'm going to ask you a hard question then.
Yeah.
What do you regret from your ages 1 to 18? Because everyone knows you have a boatload of regrets coming out of the military. I'm sure you do.
Oh, yeah.
I'm not going to ask you about one of the harder times of your life. I'm going to ask you about your childhood. What do you regret?
About the childhood or both? Just 1 to 18, right?
No, just your childhood, hon. Go
ahead.
Oh, 1 to 18, yep.
I would say, like I didn't play football, right? And like I wanted to play football, but I didn't, because I didn't feel good enough, Again, you're sort of seeing there's like this limitation I'm putting on myself
I'm seeing a lack of self-esteem.
Exactly that, right? So there was never any of that before I, hit the service, really.
Yeah. So.
And then they help you grow it?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. If you join the military, you're gonna have some kind of fucking confidence boost somewhere in there. Yeah. No matter what. Even if you're not the top of the top, you're like, you know what? 1% of the community, 1% of the all population in the U.S. actually joins the military. They actually because they said they can't fucking do it, or they actually get bounced out or something like that. So that's not. It's usually you have that little boost of self confidence when you look at that number. So yeah.
I talk about in the book. I call it live a house money life, and this is when my mind switched like a light switch, right? To like, hey, I'm gonna start taking chances. I'm gonna see if I could do this, right? And then as far as the pride thing and the confidence, when it really hit me was there was an old English letters in the 16th Special Operations Squad, and you walk out, you get your flight helmet and your flight kit, and you walk out, and you look back at this door, and it says, those who pass through these portals stand tall. And they don't give you an option but to stand tall in that world. I'm telling you, man, like you either believe in yourself and your teammates or you don't. And if you don't, you won't make it that far.
Good. Go ahead, Juju. I know you have a question for me now.
I still have a lot of questions. Come on, you're just giving me boatloads of information. You shouldn't.
I know.
Literally, should have known better.
Yeah.
I'm gonna hit Tony first though because he spoke and I don't want to forget it. You're saying basically that the military forced your whole persona. Am I correct?
Yeah, I don't want to put the term "whole" on it, because that's like
majority.
Majority, yeah,
So who are you?
Who am I now?
Who are you? You're out of the military?
I'm a father. I'm a husband. I'm a veteran, and now I guess I could say I'm an author.
Yeah.
That's fair. It's good to have track of what makes you once you leave the military. Now you.
No.
You should have seen this.
Yeah, I should have saw this coming.
Yeah. I'm going to ask you the same two questions.
Before or after?
Oh, I already know what your after is. I want to know the before. And then I want to know who you are. Tell everybody who you are.
Before, I was a caretaker. Before, I was family-oriented, completely family-oriented, and then very stubborn. And now
nothing
who
changed.
I am now, it's not nothing changed. It just changed in a different way, not the way I thought it would be. Now it's still caretaker, not really family oriented fully anymore because of differences in lots of things. Yeah, and then still stubborn as fuck because I'm that person that you got to prove it. You got to make me change my mind. Like the guy that has the signs to change my mind. Yeah, that's kind of have a mindset on it. Even though I do give more chances than it probably should be, but at the same time as I believe everybody has a chance to change and show that they can better themselves in some way, shape, or form, even if it's not seen by everyone else.
And this is why we say I'm the bigger asshole.
Of course, 100%. I'm just louder
No,
about it.
it's good questions, man. I appreciate it. You know,
Yeah.
it makes you really think back to when I'm this feeble, like naive kid, you know, and like not having a clue what the world's about, you know.
Well, I'll put it like
Yeah.
this. You're talking like you're still that feeble, naive kid, but you've grown so much. And you keep putting your success on your military, and I'm going to remind you that you did all that. Because I know those military personnel people, they don't willingly go to therapy. They don't willingly listen to self-help things. It's I get shit done. And you did. So be proud of that shit.
Appreciate it. Thank you, Juju.
Wow. I don't even know who the fuck you are right now.
Deep,
I
man.
told you I could turn it on.
Jesus Christ.
I
You
got
hate when I
goosebumps,
turn
man.
it
Is that
on.
normal? Hey, I got
Yeah.
goosebumps. Is that normal? I'm ready to rip the paint off the walls, you know?
That's what I'm saying. Punch a hole through a wall right quick. I mean, where's my white energy drink? I'm White Monster.
I'm not giving
But-
you no white monster, bro.
I know. But
There is some extra in those white monsters, it feels like, man. I don't know what it is. Like
oh
that,
yeah.
remember
Probably
the Rippets?
cocaine.
Oh look,
Yeah.
Rip It.
I mean,
I don't know
if
what
that's it,
anybody
then that's
says.
awesome.
Rip It's on deployment hit different than any other energy drink I've ever had in my life. Besides
Yeah.
Redline. I don't know if you remember Redline was that was
Yeah.
back in early 2000s, and they got taken off the shelf real fucking fast.
Bro, there was the Rippets, and you remember the old school Jack 3D that I'm pretty sure it had some sort of form of meth in it?
Oh yeah,
Remember they had to,
100%.
like, take it off the shelves. Yeah, like I remember that, dude. It was like on base, like GNC, right? And you could go in there and get like this Jack 3D, and then something happened, man. And then like the Mark McGuire and the Sammy Sosa, the whole home run thing happened, right? Then they took all the Andro off the GNC. So it was like a whatever you think you couldn't get back then, you could get.
You could definitely get, and you could get it over the counter too. It wasn't like you needed.
It was wild.
It was like
man.
you needed a guy. He's like, I'm just gonna go to the store and get it real quick.
Yeah, that it was all kinds of shit, man. There was like the mini thins, like the gas station speed, as they call it.
You said gas station. The only thing caught in my head was
my
the Yellow
God.
Jackets.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm talking about. Those things.
Yeah.
I'm going to let both of you know right now your age is showing a little too much.
You know what? Maybe you should get some culture in your life.
I did. I'm marrying it and I'm fucking it. So
Whatever. That was allegedly.
allegedly, do you want the video?
No, absolutely not.
Yeah.
Absolutely not. I helped
Didn't
you to
think
meet.
so.
That was all I needed to do. That was
You're
it.
coming to my fucking wedding. I don't give a fuck.
I am coming to
Yes.
your wedding. All right. Let's see here. Where was I at? Because there we go.
You bossed
So
it,
let's
didn't
go.
you?
No, I didn't.
There you go.
So we talked about your career path a little bit here and there. You went from fire and rescue. You went from loader, fire rescue to aerial gunner to combat special missions aviator. What did that progression mean to you personally and professionally? Because what did that actually mean to you on the inside? Like not just outside.
Yeah, on the inside, it meant like I was getting closer and closer to getting more a part of the fight directly. And as far as the term special missions aviator versus aero gunner, it's really a play on words. The Air Force combined aero gunner, flight engineer, and load master together, and you get more of a Swiss Army knife in the sky on the gunship. You got one person doing these three tasks, but really, if you were a gunner, traditional gunner, you'd be on the guns, during the mission, stuff like that. But
That makes sense.
and then I always wanted to do the helicopter thing. Like I remember a chief asked me once, he was like, where's the term the whole 9 yards come from? So I'm gonna take your gunner card, right? And I'm like, man, I don't know. So I Googled it real quick, and it was like from Vietnam when the 50 cal, right, machine gunners, they would have 9 yards of ammunition left, and that means they were about to Winchester shoot all their ammo. And when he said that, man, I was like, man, like I want to be a door gunner. There's movies like Full Metal Jacket, all that, right? But I wanted to be that close to this fight and in this fight, and I definitely got my chance to do that, but what I didn't realize, like looking back at that job now, is like gunnery is like 10% of that job on a helicopter, because you're doing weight and balance, takeoff and landing data, you do the hoist, you do the fast rope, you do all these, we call them AIEs, but alternate insertion extrication devices. But yeah, it was just basically 10% of that job, but I still loved it, you know what I mean? Because like when you get to fly around, 300 feet off the ground on MVGs and shoot a minigun or 50 calories, there's nothing funner than that, man.
Everybody says crazy, like how do people like big guns like that? It's like, look, man, you have that power in your hands. Like just
Oh yeah.
it just gives you that feeling like you're like, nothing beats this right now. Nothing at all.
It's intoxicating.
Yeah.
You know, especially like on the gunship with the 105, I often say that people ask me like, what did you chase the most? You know, there's these moments where like you'd be like get alerted to this troops in contact, right? And like these guys have been getting shot at all day, and you know, you start picking the enemy up in the sensors, right? You know, miles away, and they know the props, especially the Taliban. They knew the sound of the, you know, we call it four fans of freedom, but the props, and you know, they start running, man, and they know at that point, especially if they got a weapon in their hand, it's over, right? But I'd be lying if I said I didn't chase that moment. You know what I mean? Whether that's good, bad, I don't know.
I get told all the time because I was a corpsman. So they get told all the time like corpsmen shouldn't want to use a rifle. It's like, yeah, but when you do, you know, it's one of those things that you don't realize the feeling is going to get, the after effects of like, I want that again. You know, it's nobody thinks about that. It's like, you shouldn't want to. You're supposed to be there to like, you're basically a field medic. It's like, yeah, but when you're FMF, they train you on rifles, they train you on everything, and they expect you to be able to do your part. Because if nobody's hurt, you have no reason not to be a part of this.
Yeah, and that's you know, and I get it, and especially on the rescue helicopter, that is a job you definitely never want to have to do, man. Because like, you know, someone's having their worst day or possibly even last day. You know, like in our instance that happened. But you know, you don't wish that on anybody to have to do that job or somebody to be the reason for that job to be had.
Yeah. Yeah, I know, and it's I don't know how to explain it the right way. When you see someone like when you're in that moment, you know, calling 911 and you know, waiting for CASVAC to come in and holding position and like everything going through your head at once. Nobody prepares you for that. No matter how much you do, no matter even PIC lab. I don't know if you heard about the PIC lab, how they used to train us and everything like that, like to deal with traumas and everything like that. That still didn't prepare you for everything that happens in that moment of like, you have minutes to get this shit right and not fuck up.
Exactly.
And if you do fuck up, that's not just you just like, oh, I'm going to slap on the wrist or I'm going to lose your rank. That's somebody's fucking life.
Oh, yeah.
You know?
Yeah, so. And that was the biggest, as far as trauma goes, you know, like I had to get, we call it prolonged exposure therapy. And what that is, you know, you're writing a story. They get to the root of your cause first. And like, then you write that out over and over and over. Then you just get to a point where you can say it. Sort of like we're conversing now back and forth, right?
Yeah. You
get very comfortable being uncomfortable. And man, the first time I tried to, especially the CASVAC story, you know, I cried, the psychiatrist cried. And, you know, that's when she was like, you know, you should tell your story like 100 times, man. And like, you know, I'd said no 100 times, right? And when I got out, man, and the dust settled, I was like, you know, it was like, maybe I could pay it forward. Maybe someone is having this exact same identity loss of that, and then the survivor's guilt and the, you know, everything that comes with all that stuff, right? Like maybe they could get help and that'd be a blessing at that point, you know. And that's really why I wrote it, for that reason. Also to show the rest of America, like, this is what goes on when you're sleeping, right? So stuff like that.
Yeah. The bad thing, I think the only negative that ever comes from that when you tell your story is somebody's going to villainize you. Oh, yeah. No matter what. I think I came back from my second deployment and I came back home and I said to myself I was never going to go back home on leave, and I did. And somebody's like, how was, you know, you've been gone for so long, what you've been doing? Oh, I deployed here, did this, and then all of a sudden, oh, well, you know, you're a medic, so you hadn't do anything. So I've had to do some things. And they're like, why? And they kind of started villainizing me instantly, like without any like research, without any understanding of like the differences between, you know, someone that's non-combatant and someone that is. And it's like, I'm like, you know, I don't really have to deal with this shit. I just fucking left. It's like, I'm not dealing with this
shit. I had this guy, and there was a local college, man, and there was like this 4th of July thing. I was on leave once, and I forgot, he said something like I was a welfare person, or I don't know what something like that, right? And I'm just like, dude, I don't even know what that means, bro. Like I'm not on welfare. That if that helps your story, then you can tell everybody. I don't care. You see, you know.
Yeah, I just the welfare thing is fucking crazy, because I think people
say that, but
I think people do it because veterans get the VA disability, which honestly is earned. It's not like anybody and their mama can get it. It's like you service connected things and everything like that, and so nobody understands, like, you know, it's just because you're retired here doesn't mean you get all this here. It's like, well, the VA math is fucked up.
Yeah,
so
If you figure out that equation, let me know, bro. I still don't understand that one, but
I've been working on that equation since I think 2018.
yeah.
And I'm just like, the math isn't mathing. How is this 100%? This is 100%. This is 90%. And I was like, oh yeah, you get 70.
Yeah.
Make it make sense. Like, it doesn't make
Yeah.
sense to me at all. I'm like,
Yeah,
no.
we need some Goodwill Hunting shit going on in that office or something, man. It's
Yes.
hard to do the
Is it
math on that.
Rain Man, please?
Yeah, Rain Man.
First of all,
help us. We're showing our age again, I know.
No, I was gonna say, you two really think that any government entity is gonna give you 100% of everything all the time?
Well, it's not all the time. It's just like I see people
Terry,
worse off than me.
I
see
understand
people
that
that
but
literally
you think
are
that
detrimental.
math's gonna math anywhere?
It should.
It doesn't.
It should. I did not say it's going to.
Should doesn't mean would. Should doesn't mean can't. Should means won't.
Yeah, maybe.
That's like saying 1 + 1 is 2. And the government looks at you and says, no, it's -3. And you're like, no, that's not right.
Yeah.
Now I'm going to tell you the same thing that I told you earlier, because you are the villain of everybody's story. Let's not get this twisted.
I know.
I love you very much, but listen, it's easier to paint you as the villain. Let's not lie to ourselves. In everybody's story, you will be the villain. Terry can tell you I'm the villain in everybody's fucking story.
I know, and she can be really pleasant a lot, and then just look at it as like, because the other time it's just her face. Because that RBF, like you ever get that like moment where you're just like, you're not thinking about anything, you're not even dressing anybody, but they're like, are you upset?
I get that so much, and I'll put it to you like this: if I really was upset, I would not be able to do my job. I am a teacher, and I work with 12 2-year-olds. Do you know what I get asked all the time? Hi. And I'm like, no, we're not going to the potty for the 15th time. Good luck, because I guarantee when she come home, she don't want to talk to you.
Yeah, you're right. Dude, it's man. I could tell. I could tell when there's been a day, right? Like, I'll say that.
Oh God. Do you keep moving this on purpose, or are you just like, are you just bored over there?
I'm having cough spasms, and they keep messing up. I cough and I tap the mic, and then I bounce around in the chair on accident because I'm coughing so hard. I told you I took NyQuil last night. Did you think I took it for fun?
Christ, I didn't say anything.
You're lucky it's today and not 2 days ago when I couldn't fucking speak.
Yeah, you got it through it. I'm proud of you.
Oh, don't worry. I'm getting drunk after this, so.
Hey, have a drink.
I have a question, though.
Go ahead.
It's two. Who put you to tell your story? Who pushed you to write this?
So originally, when I was getting help in the clinic there at Candid Air Force Base, it was the psychologist, right? Like, hey, you should tell your story, like in a verbal way. And then, you used to tell your story. And there was this other thing on base called storytellers at the time, where you do it on a stage. And I said no to all this. And then when I got out, it was really just me sitting there thinking, like, I've got all this in my brain, and I want to get all this on paper. To be honest with you, there's a lot of nights, man, where like I replaced drinking with writing. I didn't want to drink, and I craved it. So I just picked up a pen and started putting down what was causing me to want to drink. What was I trying to escape? And I'd put all that on paper. And next thing you know, I have at least what I think is enough for a book. And I reached out to believe it or not, a war journalist on LinkedIn, and I said Google something, not Google, but looked it up on LinkedIn. Hey, like editors for military stories, something like that. And Holly McKay, she's a war journalist, and she called me, a couple weeks later. Next thing you know, man, there's a Word document going back and forth. What does this mean? What does this mean? And what are you really trying to say here, etc. And next thing you know, man, I have a book, and she recommended a publisher. And I would say from, pen to paper to book in hand, about 7 months or so.
That's good. Damn.
That's horrid, bro. So
that's fucking good.
You wanted to tell your story so you could replace one vice with another. And before you say writing is not a vice, I will tell you that the two people in here can testify that it is.
I don't know what you're talking about.
It's addictive.
I haven't written anything.
It is sort of exhilarating. No, like releasing your first book. You remember that day, right? That first day. That is a feeling that I will never forget. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Were you nervous that it wouldn't sell?
Oh yeah, and I was like, this thing. There's always the self-doubt creeps in, right? Like, probably doesn't have a chance. I'm probably still reading on 5th grade level, but when when you start getting the emails from people you flew with, that's what counts, right? Or people you worked with, people that know you like personally, and like they can relate. You're like, okay, cool, like someone gets it besides me. Like I'm not alone in this,
Yeah.
I'm gonna play the devil's advocate here again, because honestly, it's my favorite card.
Of course it is.
Hey, I earned my name. When you're saying that, these people are the reason that you're writing the book because they believe you, other people are going through it. That's all in your head. And as much as, you are a good person for, I'm glad you got, your story out. And I'm extremely proud that, you have it published and it's clearly been selling. The only audience you need to worry about is yourself. Because if you don't feel like you've put out a good product, then nobody else will buy it. And that's the same thing with this podcast. If you don't feel like we're putting out a good product, then the audience will think we're not putting out a good product. And those who think we're not putting out a good product won't watch it. And even people who don't like it are going to watch and read it, because that is how the human brain works. And you are never alone in this country, unfortunately. Trust me, I've tried. I can't escape this one pesky person. Man, it's not even this dude over here. It's the one in the fucking back room.
Yeah.
Yeah, but just for that standpoint, from my own self, I always am my biggest critic. Like, I think everybody else. It's not a bad thing to have the self-doubt, but it's
never
bad
a bad thing.
It's bad to fucking succumb to it.
Exactly.
So pushing forward and actually you having that self-doubt in the back of your head, like should be in print. Those thought processes when you said, I like it, but I could do more. That ever come in your head when you're writing it?
Oh yeah, I mean, I'd be lying if I didn't. It's there, right? It in a way, it holds you. Like I feel like it held me accountable to put out a good product, though. In a way, like there's a double-edged sword with that whole doubt thing, right? Like that's like saying, like you ever seen an athlete, like if they say they're not nervous before like a championship game, they're probably lying, right? Because if that was the case, it wouldn't mean anything to them. So there's has to be a little bit of, I don't know what you call that, just anxiousness, right? Like to see the final product, to see the result, right? You have action and result.
Your book describes missions defined by precision, courage, and sacrifice. Can you walk us through one mission that permanently changed how you see the world, or how it changed other missions and how you addressed them going forward?
I had a mission that changed words, like what I thought they meant. Especially the Cassavac. I'm just gonna just tell the story the best I can right here. But we were in East Africa. We were holding down like 7 days. Cassavac, right? And how that world, like you sort of eat when you can eat, sleep when you can sleep. And it's day 7. Literally, this thing is almost over. And it was in the daytime, and I went to the tactical operations center to talk. And I talked to the intel lady and another guy. I was like, hey, is everything? I want to take a tactical nap. Messed up, did that right? Asked the question, and then sorry, man.
Oh, you're good. Go ahead, take your time, man.
And then I went to the tent, and then I remember I got on I was on the top bunk, and my other buddy, he was a couple of beds down, and on the radio, just scramble, and I hit the floor running, man, and through my radio, I didn't need that no more, and I go to the aircraft, and what seemed like the longest 3 to 5 minutes of my life, putting all my gear on, and they're just saying like slow is smooth, smooth is fast. And that's where your training really sort of kicks in. You're methodical at that point, and at least you think you're being methodical. And then we take off, man, and like we're in a right hand bank, and there was the left gunner. He had a Warren Steernosh, a Gal 18, right, and so he had a runaway gun when he armed it, And so we're in this right hand bank, and I'm seeing impacts, and like at the first, I'm like, somebody's shooting at us already, right, like. And then I had pulled our flare pins, which, flares protect us from surface-to-air missiles. Yeah. And we jettisoned every one of our flares because there was water got in a panel and shorted it out. And then you hear like what sounds like a 5-line for close air support with a rescue helicopter, which is really unheard of, and all this was in like a minute. And there's a point where I just say, what the fuck is going on? Like on comms, like I say that, right? Like, because this is a lot, Yeah. And then finally I take a breath, and then it's a 13-minute flight or so to the hot, landing zone. And then basically what it was there was these 12 guys in the tree line. They were shooting at our, our Green Berets and our operators and partner nation guys with Dishkas. And then they had the big mortars. I remember that, And so we had to basically do close air support with, 4 50 cals, 2 on each aircraft. And before we could even land, man. And I remember even on that final approach, you're seeing like tracers both way, and we land, there's some brownout, right? The dust, they call brownout conditions with the helicopter. I remember like the first guy they brought in, the PJs automatically started giving him a tracheotomy, and he's on the ox tanks back there. Then they put another Green Beret beside me, and they had wrapped his eye, for an eye injury. Then then the partner nation guy, he'd got shot in the stomach, man. He's coming towards the aircraft with this bloody stomach. So what seemed like a forever was like a minute or so, 2 minutes, right? And then we take back off, immediately go back into the gun pattern, and finally, trail landed, picked up their two cat alphas, which, cat alpha meaning that basically you have a golden hour to get them back for a higher probability of survival. So we finally egress the area. I get back, load my gun back up with more bullets, and we get more gas. We call hot gas. You're doing it while the blades are turning. And then we get back and do a bunch of more gun runs. I shot like half my ammo can for those 8 guys that were left in that tree line. Get back, and then the experienced gunner on the left is like, hey, he's like, check the bottom side of the helicopter for bullet holes. And I'm like, man, like really? He's like, yeah. I'm sitting here processing this because the adrenaline's coming down, right? And I get to the front of the helicopter, man, and the aircraft commander, like his face was like white, man. He didn't have to say anything. Like, and then he told me like an eagle on American in passing. I just remember, man, that's someone's brother, someone's son, someone's friend. And, in the Air Force, there's this whole core value thing. And one of those is, service before self. And I never knew what that meant to that day. I didn't know what sacrifice meant to that day. I'd be lying if I didn't say it's just not going to stick with me forever, man. When the dust settles and you get back home and you're out of the service, right? And years later, you still wonder, like, if I'd have been there 1 minute earlier, 5 minutes earlier, survivors, whatever you want to call that, but it took me a long time to process that and realize that, he would have died anyway, no matter what time we got him to the operating table, right? And that is a hard thing to swallow. And, I don't wish that job on anybody that they should have to do that.
That is something that I recently started accepting.
Yeah.
Because we did an episode about loss, grief, survivor's guilt, everything like that.
Yeah.
It kind of hit me because, like, I think it's been like 2018 to now, and it's just been one of those things that's been in the back of my head. It's like every anniversary comes up, it's just like, it's fine. Like, I've never like actually broke down to like deal with it emotionally and mentally. I just kept saying, cool, make sure everybody else is good, and just, carrying forward and making sure I'm still eating, I'm still, doing everything I need to do, so it's not horrible. I'm not in the bottom of the bottle right now, so we're all good. And then I think that about Wednesday through that, and I just started crying. I was sitting here talking to people, just like normal everyday talk, nothing at all has anything to do with it, just tears just start coming down, and I just wave of sadness and just don't know what the fuck's going on. And I'm just like, what's wrong with me? And we all sat down and talked about it, and we're like, it's probably you probably processing for once because you're not in fight or flight 24.
Yeah, that's, man, like talking to the psychiatrist, she was so good at just like telling me why I'm doing a certain thing, like there was a point where I couldn't go to a car wash, man. And like, I remember like one of the maintainers had radioed, like, and this, obviously there's blood and guts and even puke and stuff like that on the cabin of the helicopter. And, and it's that one of the maintainers called in for a car wash, and I still, like, I didn't know what he was asking for, right? Like, I couldn't process it. And he was like basically asking for like soap and water and a sponge to clean it up, right? And and then she tied that together. And then like, I remember timing myself driving to work after that, timing myself, like why would I do something like that? And I would ask her that, like, why am I doing this? Almost to a point of panic with it, It's like, well, you're putting a time constraint on yourself. You're holding yourself to a time standard for no reason, But yeah, those psychiatrists are so good at what they do,
Yeah, you have a good one, yes. You have one that actually gives a shit. I had my fair share of ones that just they weren't the best. That's all I'll say on that one. But I finally got a couple of good ones, and it's one of those things that you got to train yourself again. And like, and everybody thinks it's like, well, you shouldn't have to, just relax. It's like, if you've always been in this mentality, how do you fucking make yourself stop without actually giving yourself an actual reason that's actually going to be tangible for you to accept?
Yeah.
And like, Juju goes on about me relaxing, because it's like, well, everything I do now, editing, writing, everything like that, doing everything else, like, it's not high stress. So technically I don't need to relax. That's how I play it in my head all the time. It's like, it's not high stress. I'm not dying from it. I lose some sleep. It's not horrible.
Right. And there's
Let's tell them the real reason real quick. It's not because it's not high stress. It's because he's a perfectionist and he won't sleep until it's perfect.
There's no such thing as perfect. I get close as I can be. There's a difference. Go ahead, Tony. Sorry.
Oh yeah, I think a lot of it is like with that, the perfection. It's not like there's a standard that we all had for so long, and like we even on the outside, we want things to be at that standard, right? Like whatever that is, and and I can't tell you the standard of a good written paper, right, or like things like that, and there's still little things that I do, like I know it drives my wife crazy, like I eat really fast sometimes, and I can't tell you I even have a reason to do that, but I do it, and then I have indigestion and heartburn. So why are you eating so fast? So there's stupid things like, after being deployed, right? You get back and you jump in the shower with your shower shoes on in your own home. Like, I don't know, just a lot of mental just blockages like that are still there,
Yeah, there it is. I still eat fast shit too.
I do too. Drives my wife wild. Yeah, you'd be like a steakhouse. Why are you eating so fast? I'm like, I don't know.
And they're like, you're not enjoying it. It's like, I taste it. It tastes good. I'm just eating it. Yeah. Do you do the same thing with your drinks too? Like, you don't ever reserve them? You're like, I gotta drink it now or it's gonna, like,
Yeah, and it's, and I think a lot of when my drinking got really bad, like I'm not the type of person, I realize now, like I can't have 3 drinks and just stop, man. Like it's all or nothing with that stuff. I don't know if it's a pride thing or a macho, whatever the case is. But there was never like, hey, I'm gonna have 3 drinks, be social, wait an hour, then drive home. I can't do that. I always get smashed, man, like floored,
Yeah, yeah, that's one of those things. I had to quit completely for a while, and then one of my friends was like, 1 drink is fine. Going more than that is not fine. I was like, yeah, but I kind of noticed that I am an addict when it comes to this. And then I started doing like social, like, I go to the bar, go dance. I love dancing. So I do that. So I dance more than I would be sitting at the table, sitting there drinking. So I'd have 1 beer, 2 beers, and then, things like that. And it was fine. I was like, okay, cool. I can do this if I'm not just sitting here with it right in front of me.
Yeah.
So I started doing that. And then I had a bottle at home. I was like, cool, I just want 1 drink. And made 1 drink, played some video games with friends while I was doing other stuff, and it was fine. Didn't down the bottle like that. I was like, huh, that's weird. Yeah. And, it's not like I was actually doing things like actually physically or anything. I was just sitting there, the bottle sitting right next to me, and just like, okay, cool. It's not a bad problem like that. And so I said, cool, I have a drink every once in a blue moon only. So yeah, and it's just 1 drink.
And I was lying to myself too. Like I would say, like, okay, I can't be an alcoholic, right? You get back from those post-deployment briefings, right? And you just fill out these things like, are you an alcoholic? No. Like,
no.
Why don't you think you are? Because I can go 4 months without it, or wherever the deployment term is. But then when that access is there, right, it's right in front of me. Like for example, like I have such an addictive personality, man. Where like right now I'm okay, right? There's no alcohol in front of me or anything like that. But you take me to a casino, like like one of my friends did, and someone's pouring Jose Cuervo shots at the bar that's like 8 feet away from us.
Yeah.
Then I'm starting to think
maybe one.
Yeah, I started making deals with the devil, right? Like, okay, I'm gonna have 1, 3, whatever the case is. Access is a big thing with that for me, anyway.
Okay, I mean everybody's different, and there's no one shot that fixes everybody with that.
100%.
Like for myself, like, did you see like parts of yourself that were like negative when you were drinking and everything like that, or were you just like, I'm just getting drunk to fucking drown everything else out?
Yeah, I would like, what was the worst part about drinking like that for me was like waking up the next morning, especially on like a weekend, right? And I would have 2 questions I would ask people. I'm like, who do I owe money and who do I need to apologize to? Because it would get that bad.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like time travel type. Because I just knew I did something ridiculous, man. And sure enough, man, they was like, man, you were really out of line, or whatever the case was.
So I think it was, we had a 96 came back after post-deployment leave. Horrible mistake. I already know it's a horrible mistake. Me, a couple buddies, like, we're going to Myrtle. So yeah, cool. I woke up in not my hotel room. I'm just like, nobody's there with me either. And I'm just like, what the fuck happened? And I found my phone and I called everybody, and none of us are together. None of us are together. And we're like, what the fuck happened last night? And
yeah, man, I made a lot of bad decisions drinking, man. You know, I think I put in the book there, like, dude, I said, I had a lot of slump busters back then, right? Like, things I'm not proud of, But there's sometimes too where I could say, like, I woke up and I've been somebody's worst, man, and like that's how you made it, right? But I'm still too hungover to even enjoy that moment, right? Like, man,
yeah. Yeah, I think all of us have, like, honestly, if most of us have deployed, that we've all had that moment at least once, and we're just like,
lightweight anyway, right? And it's like, fuck, man.
Yeah, it's one of those things that I just look at as like, fuck, what the fuck did I do? And you laugh about it too, like,
and there's a lot of funny stories that involve alcohol, man. Like, I mean, things you can't make up, right? But
I think last time I told everybody, like, I think it was like I was drinking at buddy's house out in town, and we got sloshed. And he was from the boat, so he went from Blue Side Navy to Green Side Navy. So he's like, yeah, we have these Boilermakers. I was like, I never heard of that. I'll drink it, whatever. Drank about 4 or 5 of them, and the next morning I woke up in Child's Playhouse down the street, and I'm just like, oh. And I'm like, God damn it! But it's good. Nothing bad happened, but it's just like, all right, cool. I'm not drinking that anymore. But thinking that's the problem, but it's really not. But
yeah, there was like, because we would take the gunship from stateside to where we were at deployed, and I'm not gonna say where we would stop at, but there was one time where we broke, right? Like, we're hard broke, right? For like it was like 3+ weeks, and I owed my government travel card like $2,000 when I got to Afghanistan, man. Like, it was
Jesus
that much harder.
Fucking Christ.
And like people are looking at me like, like a pickle in my flight suit is what I look like, it was probably the most unhealthiest I've ever been, man. But then I was like, okay, I got 4 months to get back in shape and get all the free protein and energy drinks in the world, right? So
yeah, that right there, man. Like, that government travel cards got fucking so many people in trouble.
Oh yeah, man. I seen a guy like get in trouble for buying like Jordans. I don't know what he was thinking. He bought Jordans with him or some shit like that.
I think.
Well, you all gave me a boatload of questions. Jesus Lord.
I think.
What you got, Juju?
Go ahead.
I'm going to take you down from this high of drinking stories, unfortunately.
Okay.
Sorry. I know you love drinking. Honey, I have a lot. So we're going to start with the first one, which is, I think, the easiest one for both of you. Would you say the military promotes emotionally stunted individuals?
Emotionally stunted. Can you like...
you need context to that. You need to put more context to that one. Break it down. Break it down Barney style.
Do you think that the military pushes for people who can compartmentalize their emotions because it does not fit with their agenda?
I mean, this is kind of the part of the indoctrination process of boot camp.
I understand that,
but it breaks you down. So
I understand that,
Terry. Have to be able to do that.
I understand that, but do you think that they do it on purpose? And it makes... Do you think that... I'm sorry. Do you think that their way of doing it could be better because they're producing emotionally stunted individuals, as shown by people's inability to handle grief, the loss of a routine, not being able to handle things that happen due to trauma? You don't know how to process any of that.
So I feel, okay, military when he came in and the military when I came in, there are 2 different layers there. Because at that point in time, I know for you, it probably was like if you went to psych, it's kind of a bad thing for you overall. It's a career killer. For me, it was still slightly a career killer. And then afterwards, like I think about 2015, they started like, oh, we can't keep sending them out there like this and fucking saying, oh, you went to get help, so fuck you, get out. Now they're like, we're going to help you so you can maintain. I think it was just that whole mindset, because you look at things from the old guard, even before he was in, to when he came in and where I came in, it was such a big detrimental thing of you have to fucking promote that we are fucking strong, no matter what, and across every single line. And that fuck your emotions, fuck your feelings, fuck your mentality. You're going to get the job done. The mission is most important over everything else.
So you're saying up until 2015, they had a keep moving forward mentality?
I mean, they still do in some regards.
some regards, but I'm saying the majority of it has been now to help the individuals that have been in their care.
If they choose to take it. There's also that, because, freedom of choice, if they choose to take it. Because
I'm looking at someone who can't take it.
Even then, when they give you the avenue to get help, whether it wouldn't cripple you or ruin your career or anything you want to go to, there's still that stigma in the back of your head. And even the self-doubt is like, if this is too bad, they're going to kick me the fuck out.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So I got a couple of things to say on sort of how I saw this thing change, right, from like what he's saying, how it really was, right? Because there's this thing in flying, it's called duties not to include flying. It's the same thing as like an infantry guy, right, or someone who actually is in the fight on the ground, right? It's called a do not arm. And like no one wants to be that person to their commander has to tell them they're off the flight schedule, right? Because you can't fly like that, and you definitely can't deploy like that. So then this whole thing, I think you're about right, 2015, 2016, it was like preservation of the force and family came, and like basically what it did was, at least in like USOCOM units, right, you have usually a psychiatrist like we had, you have a physical therapist, and you have a trainer. Those three things, and sometimes you get a diet coach, which nobody really goes.
No, nobody goes down.
Yeah.
These boys.
And another thing that I seen personally, like I remember Admiral McCraven, man, he came to the talk one time, and this is when I was on the H model Spectre gunship. He said, "Hey, like the 16th Special Operations Squadron is still deploying. You guys are just going to get a new pony, right? A new gunship." And back then it was the AC-130 Whiskey, which is sort of the test platform for the ACJ Ghost Rider now. But he made the dwell time from, it was 1-to-1, so it was like 90 days on, 90 days back. So by the time you get back, you're getting ready to go again. You would hardly see the same group of people twice back home, and it was like that, and then you went from this like 3 or 4 month deployment to like at least 6 months off. So the whole meaning behind what they did was there's things called soft truths, and one of those is humans are more important than hardware. And they really, since 2015, 16 till now, they've been beating that up, to be honest with you, towards, I think it's a better product than it was in definitely 2000, 2001.
Okay. Yeah. From what I saw, it became a little bit of a pain in the ass for a lot of those that couldn't accept it because they had too much pride.
Yeah.
And then when they became mandatory, like, you have to go talk to them, and they're like, I saw a gunny lose his shit on the CO, and he's like, I'm not going to talk to no shrink. And I was like, okay. And he's like, well, then you can stay on shore duty. And he's like, what? I said, yeah, there's your options. And then he went and sat in there and talked to him a little bit, and he came out, like, now he used to be really angry all the time, and we all knew why, but we just accepted it because it's part of how we were, no matter what. It was like, it's it, we're angry, we have to fucking do all this bullshit, then we get to deploy. Cool, we got it. And after that, he started changing a little bit here and there, and not in the worst way either. It was something that, when you see somebody, like you see like a family member that's always going through struggles, but they're getting through it, but it hardens them. And you start seeing them get a little bit soft, not too soft, but just soft enough to deal with everything else in life. It came to that way, and he was like just more of a real mental and emotional leader, which is needed when you need a real strong leadership, because somebody needs to actually be able to talk to everybody. So yeah, it was a good beneficial thing for myself. It kind of kneecapped me a little bit here and there because I was holding back a lot of my pain and everything like that, physically and mentally. And then they're like, yeah. Well, why do you feel like you have to do all this stuff? It's like, well, I have to over accommodate because I got boots, I have this, I have I have to keep sure everything's fucking going, because if I can't deploy, I got to make sure they're still good to deploy no matter what. Yeah. And they're like, okay, cool. It's like, what happens if you just take leave? I was like, no, I'm good. Yeah. And then they say, you need to take at least 2 weeks leave at minimum. So even if it's a staycation, just do that. So and I did. Changed. I came back, I know nothing really does change,
Not for me.
My psychologist says I'm doing just fine. So,
really?
I think I'm doing all right. It's you. That makes sense. But I believe it's when 2015 hit, I started actually seeing little cracks in myself. And it was from personal life. It was from marriage, like going down the drain. It was from a lot of other stuff. And, realizing that the people I put faith in weren't really there. And I just started cracking here and there. And that's when my drinking got the heaviest, I think. Because when I joined, I didn't drink at all. Like, I didn't drink for, I think, three years, from 2008 to 2011, 2012. And then I started drinking. And then I found out I liked drinking.
Oh, yeah.
And then it became a problem.
Yeah, you have a best friend.
Yeah.
Well, that makes sense. So, since neither of you can change the past, though, how are you guys processing that?
Which part? Just not being able to change the past or accepting it?
I'm going to tell you with accepting it, because I know you can deal with not changing it, but can you accept it? And how does that transfer over to your everyday life?
Acceptance is a hard thing for me. It still is. I'll admit that no matter what. Accepting anything is hard for me, especially when it's things that I can change in current day. In the past, I kind of just I'll let it weigh on me, but I got to take my time with it because there's so much extra built up trauma and things that I keep blaming myself for no matter what. I know it takes time, but I'm working through it slowly but surely, but it's not fast enough for me, but I can't do anything about it until it's time.
Tony?
Yeah. So I would say, sort of what I was talking about earlier, I can't change the past, but I could change my path, right? I had a hard realization, when I lost a lung, all this stuff was happening to me literally my last year in the Air Force. And I was feeling sorry for myself on top of all the other BS I had going on. And I talked to a preacher and he told me something to the effect of listen, man, he basically told me to nut up. He's life circumstances can make you either bitter or better. The choice is yours, right? And what he's getting at is you can change your path. You could change where you're going, how this affects you, right? You could change that. You can't, how it made you feel in the past. You can't change that,
Facts over feelings every day of the week, Lev.
Yep, that's my go-to slogan. I love it.
And when a preacher comes at you like that, that's
It's like, hey,
you would not like my house.
That's what you look at. That's not very holy of you.
Oh, actually, I know a preacher, and he's going to be the one to marry me, and he will tell you, you cannot change how things happen to you, but you can change how you react to them.
And I think that's a common thing. That's the same, what the preacher told me, right? I think it's a common way of thinking in that life,
Well, that's because they take it from their preaching, which is you can have the, oh my goodness, why did God do this to me? Or, oh my goodness, God did so many things for me. And that's one of those things where you will not find that in everyday life. That's definitely a religious aspect of this. But unfortunately, a lot of people, and I say unfortunately because I'm extremely, extremely deep in the church for some reason. That's
a good thing. And I put in the book there, the last chapter, faith played a big part in my healing, and I'm not afraid to admit that. I'm a Christian. And I think that, what was I going to say? But basically, I asked God this question when all this was going on, and I still don't know the answer to this. And if somebody does, let me know. I'm still searching for this answer. I believe there is an answer, but the age-old question of why does God let, bad things happen to good people? And I
have an answer for that.
That right
I
there,
take it, because I've been asking, a lot.
That right there has been a thing that's ate me alive. That would push me away from Christianity, honestly.
Really?
Because I was extremely Christian based, a Southern Baptist, and it's one of those things that from childhood till I think I was about 23, huge Christian based. Everything about it could actually used to be able to recite the Bible back and forth because my grandfather was a preacher, and we're all religious and everything like that. And I kept seeing all the bad things happen to the people that, especially those that were devout Christians and actually lived the life. That not just not the community Christians, but actually lived life, being good to others, everything, treating people real, no matter who they are. And I kept seeing them have these shit in the stick, or die, or in deployment things happen to them, and just this doesn't make sense. If this is what he's he loves his children. These people are actually showing they are devout to him and actually believe in him and choosing their faith over everything else. And and how they're living their life, why did they not balance out the right way, you know?
Yeah,
So,
I think
Oh,
spirituality
boy.
is a huge part of all this. You know,
Mhm.
I realize now that, yeah, I turned to a psychiatrist. That was a huge part of this, right? But I turned to everything to include alcohol and mixing it with sleepy pills, whatever the case was. Everything except for God, right? And once I did, that's when the change actually happened for me personally.
Yeah, I get that.
Well, I'll tell you the answer to both your things.
Okay.
And you're going to hate this because it's not a verse, but it does actually have a verse associated with it. It's God only gives you what you can handle. And you all know probably what I'm talking about is God gives his strongest soldiers the hardest tasks.
Yeah.
And that's quite literally James 1:2-4. And it's literally,
Yeah.
I actually have it. It's consider it pure joy, my brothers and sisters, when you face trials of many kinds, because you know that the testing of our faith produces perseverance, and let perseverance finish its work, so that you may be mature, complete, and not lacking in anything. So if you think that God has given you everything that you can't handle, I can promise you he is not. If you want me to really go far back, I can. If you want to think that God has taken everything away from you, he did not flood the earth for you. So you have not had that ability yet. You have not hit rock bottom until you do. And if you think you are alone, then you have truly lost faith. And if you're thinking that, your faith has not healed you, I'm looking at you, Terry. Because as much as, people are going to have a really hard time because they probably don't know I'm religious and my name of Satan probably does not help this. But if you really think that God has abandoned you, then you have lost faith in him. And he has never lost faith in you. And so if faith has truly helped you heal, and there is no task that is too great and too small. It's going to feel like, you're having bamboo shoots shoved underneath your fingernails. But, it will get done. And I'm going to use Terry as an example here because he was my rock through a few things. I always thought I couldn't do something. And he would tell me I can, no matter what. And that being said, he's the only reason I'm marrying that man in the next room. Because I did not want to trust a single other being in this world. Not because I lost my faith in God, but because I lost my faith in people. So all those battles that you think you can't fight, it's not because you're losing faith in God. It's because you're losing faith in yourself. And I'm really sorry to follow this up.
Nah, man, that got some chill bumps going on, man. That was deep, man. So James 1:24.
I just want to know, who are you? Because this isn't normally you.
Did you forget where I went to school? Did you forget what I was
It's not
trained
even
for?
that. It's just
where'd
the
you go to
fact.
school at?
I went to Talos Classical School, and now it's known as Delaware Valley Classical School. I was basically trained to be a God-fearing wife. And I shit you not, I can quote most Bible verses back to you. I am very good at what they taught me to do. I took humanities, spiritual disciplines, hermeneutics. I taught theology. I did theoretics. I don't want to ever do it again. It gave me a really good foundation, but it also made me see the holes in everybody's arguments. So whenever people will say, "Oh, I don't think God has given me the things that he has," yes, he gave you all the tools that you need. Even if you think that he didn't. In my case, I don't always have the best mentality. But I have a very close group of friends and family who will make me come out of that bad mentality. And that being said, I'm gonna hit Terry where it hurts. I'm so sorry. Sorry.
It's
probably gonna hit him too.
Terry.
He said father, so if you think that you're having a bad day, I want you to look into the eyes of those children that you love and tell me, how can you have a bad day? And I'm going to tell you, as somebody who has no kids, but I raise everybody else's, the best part of my day is quite literally when I hear, "Julia, help." That's as close as you're going to get to hearing my real name. I don't do that shit. And they give me hugs and kisses and they tell me they love me. So if you think you're having a bad day, I want you to find the thing that you love in this world and look at it, and look at Apollo and look at your kids. And I want you to tell me there's no way in hell you can, that you don't want to be here. Because I can tell you I've been there.
Yep.
Well,
Yeah,
not even,
good.
You don't need to look to heaven at that point because they will shine for you. And if you think that you can't, well, living proof right there. Now I'm going to follow this up with the other question that I had. I'm so sorry, Terry.
Go for it. I put you on camera today, so let's fucking send it. Let's get the best out of. I don't ever get this out of you.
It's
You really
Winchester,
fucked up with that one.
Mhm.
Listen, this is going to be a two-part question. So, when you get through these moments that you had that are rough when you were deployed, because being a savior only takes you so far in life, what got you through? Because I'm going to tell you, from being, a person who likes to help people, that can't get you through everything. And then that being said, since you've come home, how do you view civilians? Because I'm going to tell you, we're a bunch of rude ass motherfuckers. So, yeah, let's go with that.
I would sum it up with what. So basically, you're asking like what got you? Why do you keep going? Is what you're asking, right? Like through all those
I'm
bad times,
asking,
what makes you keep going?
yes, what
Okay,
what powered you through when you had those missions that made you want to just say fuck it?
I would say that my three Fs. My faith. We just talked about that. My family. We just talked about that, and my friends.
Okay. And then how do you see civilians? Because I know how they are, and Terry can tell you I get to deal with them on the daily.
I think that the whole world needs a beer right now. I think we just need to chill out a little bit. And that's come from the guy who quit drinking. But like, man, we're so like just at each other's
Jesus.
throats, and like all the other stuff aside is just like you have like why, like somebody wants that to happen. Let's not let that happen, right? Like there's no reason for us to be fighting our neighbors, right?
Okay, Terry, because I'm going to give my opinion after this.
What keeps me going? Honestly,
I'm sorry,
I don't
he
really.
hates being vulnerable.
Yeah, I do. So for myself, honestly, if it wasn't for this podcast of wanting to have conversations with people, of figuring out what's behind them, not just what they're doing, not just what the showcase is, just who they are, um, and having that avenue of just simple conversation. I don't know what I'd be doing right now. I'd probably be in a bottle or in a ditch somewhere, honestly. But
More than likely the bottle.
that and honestly, as much as people say dogs aren't your family, but my
They
dog
are.
definitely is, because he saved
Oh,
me
yeah.
from a lot of traumatic things that could possibly come to play. And my friends, some of my family, like recently my mom kind of started mending things, and it's getting better. Having that conversation of vulnerability with her has been troublesome for me to accept because of so many years, but it's getting better. She's a devout Christian herself, and she's started sitting down with me, talking to me every once in a while. And the other day she sat down with me and she talked, and she's like, "Honestly, have I ever told you you were actually a blessing to me?" I was like, and for me, I'm just like, I try not to swear in front of my mom because Southern, and I just say, "What the fuck did you say?" And she's like, "You were a blessing." I was like, "How?" And I talked to Juju about it afterwards. Like, I don't understand this. It doesn't make sense. And she broke it down for me, like, why here, 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 here. Because growing up, I was the oldest. I was the oldest son. I have three younger siblings, and she's like, you kept up with the house. You kept them fed. You made sure everybody was good for school. You made sure everything was done. The animals were taken care of, and the cows were good. The horses are good. Everything was done before I got home. So yeah, and then on top of that, football practice, schools, everything that all done, and you made sure they're done with everything else too. So you were actually a blessing to me, and and I was like, I don't understand how. I was just doing what needed to get done. Like, I didn't bitch about it, I didn't complain about it, I didn't cry about it. It's like, oh no, I got to do this. Like, yeah, my friends say, hey, come hang out with us, do this. Like, no, I got to do this instead. Didn't bitch about it or anything. Didn't get that what they call it now, FOMO, fear of missing out. I didn't have that problem either. I was like, no, I'm fine. Hang out with my siblings, make sure everything's good, take care of all the animals, and like, it was just normal to me, And she's like, well, looking at it now, I didn't realize it was really great because my mom worked like 14-hour days, something like that. Then on top of that, the ranch and everything. And so she's like, she didn't have time to really be that mom figure. So, I don't know what happened with that, but it caught me way off guard. And I didn't understand it. And I was like, I don't understand how to process this at all. So,
Yeah, I always tell people I think moms have like I tell people my mom gave me the greatest gift, man. Like, she believed in me, man. And I see that in you, Terry. I think your mom believes in you, and I think that's all part of like them guiding us, you know.
Yeah,
Like to
it's
this
Yeah.
day, even.
it's. I never had doubt that my mom didn't believe in me ever. It was just
Yeah.
to me. I think everybody thinks it's different because they want somebody to support them and have their back. But for myself, it's not that. It's, can I do it myself in some way, shape, or form? Can I accomplish this? Like, I know these people care about me. I know these people love me. But for myself, it's always the conflict inside, and it's never stopping. And it bugs me a lot because people's like, we know you can do this. Like, I get that, but you don't see it from where I see it, no matter what. And it bothers me because they're like, oh, well, it's not that big of a deal. This is this. Like, no, it does. And I literally have like a step ladder of graphs and everything like that showing like how my brain works of like, this goes to this, this goes to this, this goes to this, goes to this, goes to this, and this one's not working right. They're like, we'll just skip it. It's like, that's not how this works. They stack on each other, they build each other up here and there. And they're like, what do you mean? It's like for me, it was like physical fitness. Get back in the gym, get back in that, get my body right, get my mind right again. And so I started doing that. And then push that over to everything else I do to keep that going. They're like, well, you can just skip this step. So I can't. In my brain, that's not how I work. That's not how I'm wired. It's like, I gotta do it like this. I can't just, I can't just skip the step. I was like, why? Because that's an important step to me. And it means a lot to me. So, yeah. But yeah, I appreciate you saying that, by the way, man. A lot of people say, like, my kindness does come from my mom. Because she's one of those people that shows kindness and gives and helps everyone that she fucking can in our community.
Oh yeah.
And it's one of those things that, like, I didn't know I inherited that kind of from her because I didn't look at it like that. I was like, oh, we're just being good people. That's just it. And then going out into the real world saying like, people aren't like this at all. I'm like, oh. So yeah, it's a resounding thing that makes me realize that how I appreciate that I grew up the way I did.
I feel you, brother.
I wish more people had the chance to have the small town mentality a little bit here, like just for community basis.
I don't think you need that. I think that you need this world to have a more understanding, less sensitive mix of people because everybody now is so focused on themselves and so sensitive about everything. There was a time when you could walk into the street and say motherfucker and nobody would have an issue with it. It would
That's
be,
true.
People would frown at it and, okay, but that's your opinion. And
Yeah.
unfortunately, in this day and age, opinions are facts. And that is a issue with me because I'm not going to give you my opinion unless you really ask for it. And I will ask you, are you sure? Because I will hurt your feelings.
I do the same thing.
And I do it to you and you do it to me. And that's just how this works. But that being said, I will actually go off of what Terry said. My mother's different. My mother was you asked for affection. And I don't know if you've ever experienced that. It's a different type of love. Now that being said, she doesn't love me any less. She just loves me differently. And that is she shows her appreciation for me by shit you not roasting me halfway to Sunday most days. And I wish I could tell you I was joking, but I'm not. And that is coming from someone whose mother is a psychologist and an RN. And I will tell you, it's something I teach my kids. You must ask to touch me. It is not a free love world because in this world, there is no free love. So if you want to do anything for how civilians treat this world, toughen them up. I don't care how rude you are. I really do not. If you can't make me cry, more power to you. But if you can, damn, I'll give you $5.
Yeah.
I'll make you cry.
I'll make you cry right back. Don't even play with me. But that being said, these people that are coming out of the military with these small-minded mentalities, and I say small-minded for a reason, because those mentalities that you are so fond of are not worldwide. Those are taught in different countries. I love how different countries do different things. There are countries that allow people to learn and grow even when they make mistakes. But here, it is not how it's done. They have cancel culture. They have dumb shit. They have, oh dear Lord, I'm probably going to get a lot of hate for this one. They have so many different types of people. I'm going to be the first person to tell you and the last person you see when you wake up. You cannot make me do something that I do not want to. I will never acknowledge anything that is not part of who I am as a person. If I don't believe in it, I will not sit there and pretend to. Hate me all you want for it. Won't change who I am. But
I get that.
That's one of those things where you sit there and you have written a book that shows the world who you are and what you went through. And they're going to respect you a little more for that. And some people might hate you for it. But at the end of the day, you got your truth out there. So you have so many people willing and able to support you. And
Thank you.
how you see the world, listen, how you see the world is how everybody else is going to take point from that when they read your book.
Thank you. Yeah, and I think, you ever heard the argument like perception versus perspective?
Yep.
Yeah.
We've done that a lot.
And there's moments, whether it was Flying Man or like, but whatever the case is, man, like my perception is like, it's worth nothing, right? Like it's only as good as me, right? But perspective is like, okay, I'm going to see things through this person's lens, that person's lens. And that's one thing writing the book. You get a lot of different feedbacks from a lot of different type of personalities, some good, some bad, let's be honest, right? But like, it's all part of the perspective, that's how you grow,
I'm gonna break it down for you a little bit more for me, actually. You definitely have those two things, perception versus perspective. And Terry, I'm gonna out myself a little bit for you. Just because I know you won't do it. Everyone views me as the bad guy because that is what I want them to see. But if they actually got the chance to talk to me, they probably find that that's not even close to the truth. But it's so much easier for me to be able to do the shit that I need to do than to sit here and be like, oh, you know what? I'm going to argue that, you don't know me at all. Do I complain to Terry about it all the time? Fuck yes, I do. Because there's so many people who are like, oh, she's so mean. You don't even talk to me, bruh. How the fuck are you going to tell me who I am? Bro, I sit here and I'm like, you think I'm listening to you? Half the time I'm head deep in some Spotify mix or a book. I could not give a shit what you're talking about. But that's where perception versus perspective comes into play, because you're going to perceive me being an asshole when really I just don't fucking care. You can't have the best of both worlds. You can't have a world where people perceive you as one thing when you are another without them fully understanding and getting to know people. It's why one of the reasons why I love talking to Terry, because if I really want to talk to Terry, we will sit down for a good 5 hours and just flip and chat. Yeah. And it's about the things that, really actually matter. Like for me, at least, we sit there and we're like, why these things are happening. This could be this, and this, but it also could be this, and this, and this. And if we disagree, it's not groundbreaking.
Yeah,
it is one of those things where it's literally, oh God, yes, we have.
Yeah, we have forgot that simple thing in America. Like, we can disagree and still be cool. Why are we making a big deal of nothing half the time, right? Like, I agree.
And that's like,
go ahead, Tony.
Yeah, you might cut out. I'm sorry.
I was just saying, I agree 100%. We've lost that somewhere along the line in culture in this day and age. We disagree and we hate each other. We absolutely hate each other. When really we disagree and we got 99 things that we agree on.
And I'll put it to you like this. I am religious. And my fiance is Native American. And we're getting married. And so many people are just like, how do you reconcile those? Why? We both respect each other. There's no reason that we have to reconcile.
That's awesome. Yeah, my wife's from the Navajo Nation.
Nice.
Trust me, same thing. We respect each other's beliefs, religions,
and he goes to church with me.
Yeah, it's the same here. That's awesome.
And though the day I get him to sing, I'm going to get on camera, so don't you worry.
Oh Lord, that's fantastic.
Man, this has been a unique podcast, man. I appreciate both of you guys, and I appreciate the questions from both of you guys. They were awesome, man, and they were definitely different, man, and I liked it, man. I really did.
Oh, not a problem, man. We still have a little bit more. Do you have to cut out?
Yeah. No problem at all, man. I was just saying I appreciate it.
Oh, yeah. Not a problem at all, man. All right, so let's talk about PTSD. Okay? At what point did you realize what you were experiencing wasn't normal stress, but something deeper like PTSD or other traumas?
I would say that the moment like where I was drinking myself into oblivion, man. Like, have you ever like basically like walked through the door and you're shotgunning like a pint of some hard liquor, right? Like,
Yes.
and I was always a lightweight anyway, and there's levels to that stuff. And like I remember my wife gave me that ultimatum, hey, it's either me and your daughter or the bottle, you know. And that's when she's like, you need help, right? And then I had some close friends notice like man, you're really off your rocker, bro. You need to see someone. And that's a hard thing to tell yourself you're actually going to go do, right? And once you do it, I went in there with a chip on my shoulder. I'm like, what does this psychiatrist know about anything? And then she gave me the cliche analogy of like, you wouldn't call a dentist to fix your car. Maybe you would if they are a mechanic, but you know what I'm saying? Like I had a chip on my shoulder. And when she said that, I sort of opened up to her, and she gave me all the reasons why I should listen to her, and basically it was numbers. Like she's there for a reason. She has a degree for a reason. I leaned on that a lot, to be honest with you.
Okay. That makes sense. For myself, I think it was 2023. Also sat down with me and talked with me. She's like, Daddy, I love you. I was like, and in my head, I was like, oh, there's always a but. Oh, there's always a but. And I was like, okay, what's up, baby girl? And she's like, I love you, but you yell too much and you get really angry. I was like, okay. And then that just like started to process in my head in the background. And I didn't understand and she just walked away. I was like, okay, what the fuck's going on here? What do I need to do here? Why did she say this? And then I was like, cool. I have cameras in my house. So I went back and just started watching. I was drinking every fucking time I was yelling, no matter what it was. And I was like, cool, let's cut that out. And let's see how that goes. And then I started not demanding, just started talking. And it made a very better relationship dynamic and made everything easier and made me actually start to feel like part of a family again. So it's one of those things that still lives with me, no matter what that moment, always will, because I didn't realize that drinking was just masking so many other issues. And that's also when I started going to therapy.
So proud of you for that still.
Yeah.
It's an awesome step that people are starting to make more and more, right? And I appreciate you doing that, man, and telling that story too. And like, I think drinking, the biggest thing with me, like when I sort of recognized it too, right? It was like drinking in isolation, right? Like by myself, like that is a bad, to me, that was the saddest thing in the world to think back at it now, right? Because like I'm just sitting there drinking this pint of liquor by myself, right? And just not wanting anything to do with anybody, no laughter, no fun, no happy drunk, no jokes. You know what I mean? There was definitely a different outcome of the alcohol, I guess you would say.
Yeah, especially like when you listen to like sad songs and shit like that while you're fucking doing it, and it's just like shit, man.
It's worse and worse.
Yeah, look.
But yeah, it builds and it like it.
Yeah,
it takes over like a cancer almost. It just it builds on each other. And next thing you know, man, you got some very dark thoughts, right? And with the alcohol.
I understand that a little too much. Okay.
Yeah.
You sad girl energy over here with most of your music.
You know what? I know you ain't talking. I saw your top 5.
My screaming music is, screaming music.
Yeah, but you act like it doesn't have words still.
It does have words.
Yeah, I know. Mm-hmm. I read the lyrics. Mm-hmm. They are depressing like you.
100%.
Yes.
But let's take a quote from your book. You said, it's not what you do in life that haunts you, it's what you don't do. What was the moment or experience behind that quote right there?
I would say that, especially in flying, like having somebody, the whole motto behind the rescue, the Cease Our Missions, these things we do that others may live, and someone not coming back, that definitely haunts me. It's not saving the 5 guys, obviously, that haunts me. It's the guy that didn't make it back to his family. And that, to this day, that thought is always going to be there a little bit. There's another side to that quote too, where like, I don't talk about it a lot, but it's taking risk, like getting in the aircraft every time to fly, especially an operational mission. Like it's a risk that goes with that, but if I never would have decided to retrain and take that risk, and I know I'd set limits on myself as far as other things go, so sort of contradicts there a little bit, but like at the same time, like I took a risk to get in that plane, took a risk to be an aviator and to get wings, right? And if I wouldn't have done that, that would have haunted me. I didn't do it. That would have haunted me, right?
Yeah.
That's true. It would have. Thank you for sharing that.
No problem, man.
You also mentioned the silent battles that start when the mission ends. I understand that. For everybody at home that doesn't understand that, what does those battles actually look like for you in daily life?
Yeah, it was we were talking a little bit about isolation earlier. That's a big one, right? Doing everything by myself, not playing basketball anymore, being with friends anymore, pushing my friends away when they're trying to figure out what's the cause of all this, right? Why they changed that. With isolation, until I talked to God Jesus that day, that's when they gave me elevation, and I got out of that.
I have a song for you. Remind me of some of that to you.
Sounds good.
It's not a bad song. It's just a praise song. It's my sister sent it to me.
Gotcha.
Oh, Lord yourself, bro.
Your songs just worry me.
I sent you a song the other day. It was perfectly normal.
You know that bruh meme with that little white kid just like sitting there like just black as eyelash? That's what's the picture in my head.
I said it was a good song, and you just looked at me like I was crazy. I said, listen, it speaks to my inside, and you were like, that's wrong. I was like, whoa, okay.
That's all I'm saying. All right, in Moonchild, you talk openly about addiction and depression. We've covered that a little bit here and there. Like we've been talking about it openly about it. And you said your tipping point was when you finally admitted you needed help, right? Was it that point when your wife came to you and said, it's me and the child, me and my kid, me and the kids, or the drinking? Was that your tipping point, or was there anything else?
That was definitely the tipping point, I would say, because like that is something, if you've ever had that conversation with your spouse or family member, like that is a hard thing to swallow, and to realize like I do need help. I am a raging alcoholic. I had to admit that to myself, and that was a very hard thing to swallow. But once I did, I knew that I had to, right? And if I had to do something, I could do it.
Yeah, I get that. Did you have any brothers or close friends that you tried to talk to about this problem before she came to you with that?
Yeah, there were some comments, like I'd done some, I'm not going to repeat them on here, but some really stupid things at parties, and that I definitely, like, someone was like, what the fuck, bro? You know what I mean? Like that moment, right, of just shock, where you shocked like a dude you thought was crazy, they're crazier than you, right? You know what I mean? And I was like, all right, man, like it was just this reality switch, man, and like it would just get turned off when I got just blackout drunk. You know what I'm talking about? Like that level of drunk.
Yeah, I definitely.
Yes, he does.
Those, and I've had to call her a couple times afterwards. And she's just like, what the fuck, bro? I was like, look, I can't explain. I don't know what happened.
Oh, Lord, Terry.
Yeah.
What am I going to do?
And it's so embarrassing when you do something like that. Like in my case, like I was just so freaking embarrassed that I did that. I was like, what the fuck, man?
I've personally never understood people getting embarrassed over things that they do when they're drunk. And I will tell you, like I told Terry, I don't understand how you can be embarrassed about something that your inebriated brain did. It wasn't you, it was the inebriation. And I've told Terry that.
But it's still our physical body, and we have to answer for that.
Yeah.
Do you ever answer for anything?
100%.
Oh, that's good to know.
Yeah. Yeah. Even for things I don't do.
Listen, I answer for the things that I haven't done all the time.
I know. Did you feel like when you returned home out of the military, going through transition, how isolated did you feel?
And we're talking about like getting out of the military.
Get out of the military, into civilian.
Yeah, it was still hard. Like here's a realization I had. Like that those final moments, the final moments in uniform, where you're getting your DD-214, you're feeling all that stuff. It's usually a personnelist flight, right? And I've said this on a couple of things before, but like there's often no door handle on the other end of that door, so you can walk in that MPF office and out process and do all that. But when you walk out, there's no door handle to get back in, bro. That's it, right? Like
it's closed, it's gone, it's good. No, never come back. And this
no longer sergeant. You just I'm just a dude, at that point. And it was little things like walking out the building, like reaching for my hat, and I didn't have one. Where like I didn't know what business casual was. All kinds of little things I could compare, man. But I had to get over myself too and realize, okay, like this machine goes on without me, right? Like I had to be like, this machine of this especially in special operations and the gunship, it's going to keep going. There's going to be younger guys and gals do it, and it's going to go on. I'm going to be okay.
Yeah. So even with your loved ones around you, do you feel that loneliness still?
Every now and then it'll creep in there. I'd be lying if it didn't, and some of those thoughts start, happening. But what the thing I can do now is I can face them, and I can sort of give you the reason why I'm feeling that way, or I know how to combat it, and I've got medication which helps, and I've got faith that helps.
I know the medication part of that a little too well.
Yeah. So you get out of the military, you have this come to Jesus moment, basically, with your wife, and then therapy and your addiction processes. What was the hardest part of reintegrating yourself with your relationship, your routine at home, feeling your purpose in life, and just your mental health in general? What was the hardest part out of everything else?
I would say convincing myself that I'm a changed person, that I don't need this fifth of Jack Daniels or Tito's vodka to get through the day. To say, okay, I'm gonna be happy with just what God's given me and the joy of my laughter of my daughter. Right, that's a huge thing to me. Without that, man, that is a drug in itself. And just being the best dad I could be and finding exciting moments in the calm, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I get that. Okay, that makes so much sense. That especially gets me like a lot.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Well, it does.
Yeah. So I get that. That makes sense.
And there's something too, like with the dad-daughter relationship, almost like mother-son. It's something that you can't put in words, almost.
You can't, and I think people get it. Like you have a son too. Like, oh, you have a boy that's going to carry your legacy. Yeah, but like when you have a little girl and they're just like, "Daddy, this, that," they want to do stuff with you, and then. Like, I never saw myself doing unicorn headbands ever and tea parties and dressing up.
I know what you're saying.
Somebody literally walks in the doors like, they look at me like, yo, Doc, what the fuck you doing? It's like, shut the fuck up. My time.
Yeah, I know exactly what you're saying. Yeah. Yeah, man.
Well, yeah,
it's a real thing, bro.
Yeah, and everybody's like, oh, you're going to do this. I was like, I'll never do that. And then now I was like, yeah, I'm doing this. I'm happy with a big old smile on your face.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
Like I was never into like Pokemon cards and all that, man. And now I'm like looking up cards for my daughter, like, stuff like that, what each ones are worth, right? And all that fun stuff.
Yeah, y'all wild over here. I just drew on my dad and drop kicked him.
Yeah, jeez. But you're also a very simple creature that didn't need much entertainment.
I know you're not talking. You take my book recommendations.
Yeah, I get bored sometimes.
Okay, let me know that when they get back to you on what book I recommended.
We're not talking about that. Okay. All right, we're going to go back to your book. You had a copy of your book right there with you, right?
He does.
You mind showing that for the camera?
Yeah, no problem. It's Moonchild, the Roots and Wings of the U.S. Air Force Combat Special Missions Aviator. So it's got the mighty AC-138 model gunship on the front.
Okay.
And then just me and my mask mixed with the moon on the back there.
Nice. All right, cool. Now we're going to talk about your writing, okay? Okay. We haven't got much left. Just let you know that in case you need to get dinner or something like that with your family. So that.
Fun, man.
In case you need to go to the restroom or anything,
Yeah, if you need to go, you can just pop out real quick and we'll be here.
I'm good. This is fun. It's a good time, man.
All right. You said Moonchild was a process to help you process trauma, and it's been a therapy to you, right?
Yes.
What part of writing it hurt the most, and what part helped heal you?
I would definitely say after the Casevac, there's a moment there where there was people on the fob looking for like OSB boards and like plywood to build this guy a casket because there was no ready casket available. And there's a moment where the C-130 came down from up north to where we were at, and his brothers took him on the ramp of that aircraft and the American flag draped. That is something like still I get teary-eyed.
Yeah. I understand. I get that, man.
But yeah, it's someone's, like I said, a brother, a son, and friend, and that is a hard thing to not think about sometimes.
Okay. Were there any experiences you left out of your book that was too difficult to relive? Besides that moment, because you did put in.
Yeah, that was probably the one that gets me every time, and I'd be lying if it didn't. But yeah, I think there's a couple moments in there where I talk about how bad the drinking got and facing the fact that that's who I was, right, and like almost monster that I turned into. I didn't like it. And then now I realize that, I'm not that person anymore. I don't need that pint of Tito's or whatever the case is.
Good. So, giving veterans a voice, that's been one of your go-to things. The book promises to give voice to hidden struggles many veterans face. Why was sharing your truth, so important to you?
I think it's because it's a common truth, and I think that a lot of these uncommon jobs, we're very normal, ordinary men and women doing very not normal things, right? Like extraordinary things sometimes, and like we just got done with 2 decades of war, and it's not if, it's when those demons surface, and I think it gave me courage to face it with words and writing, and I encourage every veteran and anybody to do the same. If you got words in your heart, man, that are hurting, man, just bleed them on the page and you will feel better. I promise you that.
Yeah, I can actually attest to that.
Oh, yeah.
I do it a lot, and everybody's like, are you going to do something with that? It's like, absolutely not.
It really does feel better after it's out there.
It does. So, on this one, because it's like, you know what, I have to ask the question to have some confrontation with it. Is it, why do you think your book is going to give veterans a voice more than any other avenue so far that they've had? Like between,
I would say, there's been a couple, to be honest with you, like since the book has came out, a couple phone calls, man, where I talked some people off some ledges. So I see that part of it where like they at least made a call, right? They took an attempt to get help, and it leads me to believe that other people would do the same after reading it. I'm not saying my book's the reason they did that, but it definitely got them thinking of, okay, I got this guy's number, I'm going to call him. I know him.
That's good, man. That's good. I know that myself, that when you get calls like that, because you never expect it. You always expect like, hey, you just like, oh, what's up, dude? And then they drop it on you. Like, yeah. You get that moment in your head when you're like, fuck. Think about everything, like processing it all.
Yeah, and and it's always at 2 or 3 in the morning, usually, right? And there's always a lot of alcohol or something involved like that, and and it's getting them to the hospital, or like in one case. But yeah, it definitely, it's a very like abrupt like responsibility, right? But at the same time, like I want to be there for them, I want to be that guy for them, because I know that they would be for me,
Yeah, I get that. That makes sense. All right. Well, thank you for that. Let's see here. So let's check if a young airman or a struggling veteran reads your book. What's one message you hope stays with them forever?
I would say that there's going to be moments in life where like it's not going to be great. It's not, everything's against you, right? Like I often equate it to flying. It could be the weather, it could be the systems, runway guns, flares, communications. Like that's the day that the people that depend on you to be the very best you can be, no matter what the you is. That's what perseverance is. That's what, to me, I talk about touching the face of God. To me, that's what that is.
If you could talk to the young man who first signed those enlistment papers, what would you warn him about, and what would you thank him for?
I would say I'm thanking for taking a chance and getting out of the small cracks in the road, right, and to see what the world has to offer, and trying to make a difference, And then I would ask him if he was proud of the career that I've had, or the man that I've become, even further, right, the father that I've become.
Okay, that's wonderful. Do you feel a sense of pride being the best father you can be now?
Oh yeah, I think that, to me, that's everything. At the end of the day, that's what matters.
That's fucking fantastic. All right, healing today. Where are you now emotionally healing? And are you in that rebuilding stage still? Do you feel like you're still in a rebuilding stage? Do you feel like you're still just surviving, or do you feel like you're actually thriving now?
I feel like I'm starting to thrive. I would say that I'm starting to be on the north side of thriving, and I don't drink anymore, and I feel fantastic, to be honest with you, since I quit drinking. And just, man, I've learned to just enjoy life, man. Enjoy what God gave me,
Drinking does that, yes.
How do you measure progress these days now? Like, instead of like, back then, like it was mission first, like getting the mission accomplished, progress. You did everything you need to do. Now you're, like you said, I don't know if you work or not. You do work still. Okay.
Yeah.
So you have a job, day job, everything like that. Then you family life, and then you're author now. What does progress actually look like to you now?
I think it's a 2-answer question. You know, I think I put in the book there, like, in that accountability mirror every night, right? When I look at it, I got a question like, did I make humanity better today, or was I just a shitbag, man? Did I just do nothing? You know, so to me, making a difference it comes back to the conversation with my grandfather. Can't take nothing with you, man. All you can leave behind is, I don't know how to say it, but your memory, your legacy, right?
Yeah, that's true. Okay. What does home actually mean to you now?
Home is a state of mind. It's a happiness. I don't want to say content, because when I say content, I feel like that's like somebody saying satisfying. I think it's a level of happiness that is undescribable with my wife and my daughter.
Okay.
Did you say home is where your heart is?
Yeah, I could say that, you know, definitely where my emotions are, and my, you know, the level of happiness, you know, that comes with home being my state of who I'm with, my daughter, my wife, and my friends, everything, you know.
Okay. That's good. Do you feel like your relationship with your wife and your daughter is so much stronger now than it was before?
Oh yeah, it's yeah, man. Just my daughter's in a spelling bee right now, and you know, I want, you know, we got 500 words to go through. I know it's gonna be hard, but it's you know, pushing through that with her is challenging for me, bro. Like, just because my
Yeah.
attention span along, but the want to do that lets me know that if the one is there, then the love and like I said, that level of happiness is there, you know.
Yeah, I get what you mean. I remember with the kids' spelling days, whereas they were pumped about it, but they were actually anxious a little bit because, like, I don't know if I remember these words. It's like, no, we'll break it down. We got this. And there's 4 of them, so 4 kids at the time. So it's like, all right, cool. We're gonna break down your words first, and then 2 of them were in the same grade. So I was like,
Yeah.
all right, cool. Maybe they might be the same. And then I look at the sheets like, shit, they're not. So new game plan.
And what's cool about it, like today, I found this out. Like, this is a good learning point for like repetition. What I was talking about earlier, right? The key to success in anything is repetition. You know.
Yeah. Do you instill certain things in your daughter, like, perseverance, and, like, at least try it before you give up on it, before you say it's not for you?
Yeah, and it's one of those things where like basketball, right? For example, like get her to try it. Like, she's a taller girl, right? And I think she'd be good at it. Just try it. You know, if you don't like it, guess what? If it's not your thing, it's not your thing. I'm not going to be that parent to like push that on her. But she's an excellent drawer, man, and like I'm starting to see like what she's really like, her passion's starting to be, right? And that's a beautiful thing, man. When you know your kids' passions, man, like you know your kids, right?
Oh yeah, mine definitely like drawing too, and then one of
yeah.
them, I know everybody says like you shouldn't have your favorite child, but honestly, one of them kind of like always sticks with you all the time, kind of thing like that.
Always, yeah.
It's just like
it's
cool.
your brand of crazy.
Yeah, and yeah, definitely my brand of crazy. And she one day said, "Oh, I want to get into whales," so like that. I was like, "Cool, we'll look at it." And I was like, in your head, you're like, it might be a fad, it might be a little thing, because it's like kids try little things, like have interest in so many different things. It's cool. I think I still have 40 damn books of fucking things on whales. Because I was like, it might be a fad. We started watching Discovery Channel, started watching Disney's Discovery Channel things to make sure it's child appropriate and stuff like that. And then she just went down this rabbit hole. I'm just like, my God. But I loved every second of it because she was so passionate about it. And she was just like, oh, did you know this about this whale? And I was like, I did not. Where did you learn that? So I went to the library at school. I was like, oh, okay.
It's insane how much they know these days, though, man. Like, the math alone, I'm just like, bro, that was like 8th grade for me. It maybe 10th. I don't know, you know.
Oh, it's not even like the same math anymore. It's called Common Core math now, and that thing draws me up the wall. Like, it doesn't make sense.
Please don't. I have to help it after school, and now they multiply things by crossing lines and number.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
Just no.
Yeah, I'm still trying to wrap my brain around all of that.
You're trying to wrap my brain. I had to help somebody do a times table the other day, and they're like, "Miss, you don't line the numbers up anymore and multiply them long way." I'm like, "You don't? No, you draw lines." I'm like, "What kind of a dumb crap is that?"
The bigger brains of universities. That's what it is.
Yeah, they do the Ron
I'm
Clark
aware.
Academy stuff. Like, I'm sorry. Was that?
Go
you're
ahead, Anthony.
No, I was saying that I'm doing things too. Like I never thought I'd like the whole Ron Clark Academy. Like what house are they in?
Yeah.
I never was a Harry Potter type guy, and I'm starting to, okay, this is cool. Like there's a house, right, Rivera and all that, House of Dreamers. What does that mean? Okay, cool.
Yeah, I'm a Slytherin. I found that out too.
Me too.
Yeah, and it's like, I guess it fits. And I asked I started doing that dive with them. I was like, what does that mean? They're like, you're definitely a Slytherin. I was like, I don't know what that is. Like, is that a good thing? The way y'all said that, it's like it's a bad thing. Like, well, they're mostly the bad guys. It's like, thanks.
Fits. Just should have said Fitz and walked away.
No, it's a great time. All right, Tony. So, what do you hope people say about you 10, 20, 30 years from now? And what legacy do you actually want to leave behind?
I would hope that they would say I was the guy that picked up that answered the call. That no matter what it was, like, if someone needed something, that I would do everything I could to get it for them if within means. That I'd hope they say I was a good friend, good father, and a good husband, and a good aviator.
Okay, good.
Man.
Okay. Things about your book that resonated with me. So it was chapter 9, The Heavy Days. Okay. So you said loss of identity, sense of purpose, all that was gone. That resonated with me a lot because when I got out, I didn't know who I was anymore. Because me, like, I've always been Doc. I've always been that guy to help them with anything, marriage, life, financial problems, anything like that. We were always there for each other. We always held the rope, and that right there is like one of those harsh realities that people don't preach enough before they get out.
Oh, yeah.
What do you think should be a part of the transition process to actually ready people for that?
I would say like some just counseling on like just we left civilian life a lot of times 20 plus years ago, right? And like how everything's changed. It's not the same workplace or school place you left like 20 something years ago. Yeah, that was a hard thing too. Like just learning all that stuff, and just you go to what do they call it? That course you take
for
TAPS.
TAPS.
Yeah, TAPS, right? It's like this congressionally like mandated course you take, and bro, they spend literally 10 minutes on resume writing and 10 minutes on like interview techniques. Yeah. The two things you would probably need the most, and then some sort of
financial advice, like, oh yeah, do GI Bill, this is what you got to use, write this down, this is important. And we're like, what do we do with it?
Yeah, and you're going through that course, and like I'm sitting there thinking, like, I can't be the only person to think this was a very like crash course in the things I need the most, right?
Yeah, it goes to that path of, like I say all the time, like they indoctrinate us. The indoctrination process. I say indoctrination, everybody's like, it's not indoctrination. It is indoctrination because it changes your way of life and how everything's supposed to go. So why did they spend this much time on getting us to be this way, but they don't spend that much time getting us to be ready for the civilian section and all? If they would, like, if they could extend it, like maybe like 3 or 4 weeks, at minimum, to break down things of how you're supposed to do, even just simply the vernacular of how you're supposed to talk to anybody.
Yeah, it's very sort of a letdown, to be honest with you, looking back at it.
But that's what I took from that. Then for me, also still chapter 9, Heavy Days, the path to growth for you writing is healing. We talked about that a little bit here and there. We talked about it throughout most of this podcast. I decided to get help at the end of it. Part of that treatment is writing down. You're writing down. They're getting to the root cause of what's causing these demons. When you came across those demons for yourself, like, was it that eureka moment a little bit here and there, or is it that moment of, I knew this was the problem, but I never had anything in me to actually, make it work right?
That's a very good way to put that. I never had the tools to face it, head on, right? Like these things don't go away until you face them a lot of times, and you say the loud part out loud, I like to say.
Yeah. That's a good one. Say the loud part out loud. I love that.
Yeah.
Okay. For the next one is, I got 2 more parts. That's it. Chapter 10, Roots and Wings. Okay.
It's fine because I got something after you.
A house of money money. Okay. Do you remember that part of it? Okay.
Yeah,
Cool.
the house money life. Yeah.
Yeah, house money life means living your soul's already won. What did that mean to you when you said that? Like, what incorporated that?
Yeah, so anybody that's been to like Vegas or any major casino, right? Like, how much more aggressively and how much? What I'm getting at is how many more chances would we take if we were playing with the house's money, right? And I tried to start looking at life like that. I heard a quote the other day, and I don't entirely agree with it, but it was like, what did it say? Empires are built on taking risks. 9 to 5s are built on avoiding them. And I like to say, really legacies are built on taking risks, and normal's built on avoiding them, right?
Oh, that's true.
That's sort of what I'm getting at with that.
Oh, that's completely true. Okay, that's good. Especially when you say like, legacies, empires, everything like that, they're all obviously built to take risks. And if anybody knows me, I'm big on big history and things like that, like Greek Empire, Roman Empire,
Oh yeah.
U.S. military, like other foreign military, everything like that. I was like, what caused them? And then also I put the little tidbits like, why Canada caused the Geneva Convention in the first place. They're like, Canadians are so nice. Did you see the Geneva Convention and why it was made?
Yeah, man, it's there's just so many terms too, like in this world, like Greenwich Mean Time, like it was cool because I did an interview with a guy in England, right, or London, and like he's like I'm trying to think, man, like he really knows what, like we would call it Zulu time, right? Like in operations, like Zulu time is the same thing as saying like basically this time or in Greenwich they were like, okay, this is going to be a standard time no matter what place in the world you're in at all times, and you use it for certain things, HR stuff like that, right? But
Yep.
It was just cool just to when you hear other people like you and like this guy, like these terms,
I get that.
Common language, I guess.
So the common language of the military is one of those things that when you hear it everywhere else, you're like,
yeah, you're like, hey, I remember that.
Who are you? Let me
like
talk to you for a minute.
It's like a secret password of like saying it. Right?
It's a cult. It's all a cult.
Yeah, pretty much.
It really is. Like, honestly, it really is.
Hey, you're just describing my old school, and I'm just like, oh, Lord, I'm having flashbacks.
All right, last one. Your path to growth, resilience, and purpose beyond service. The darkest nights, man. The darkest nights, man. That's when the moon burns the brightest. Okay. When you said that, what incorporated that way of saying that? Like, what made you put those words to paper like that?
Yeah, so flying in especially the AC-130 gunship, I tell people we mostly come out at night, mostly, right? And I remember just flying with MVGs on, man, and like the moon was like a lighthouse for me. It made it almost effortless, man. You could see all the mountain ridges, all the tracer fire, you name it, And at the same time, like on your darkest moments, like I was getting at earlier, it's about being the very best on the worst day of your life, and it goes back with the saying, fall down 7, get up 8, right? Those darkest moments, that's when you don't get to fail, you get to rise, man. And that's when that moon burns the brightest on the darkest nights.
All right. Well, I really appreciate you, Juju. I know you have questions. Just go for it. I know you're going to attack me with them somehow.
Just rapid fire, huh? Did you?
Oh, yeah, just rapid fire.
It's okay. So I don't know if you actually have heard of the quote that actually goes with that. Even the darkest nights lead to the most beautiful sunrises. And it is
not, man. That's deep though.
It is one of my favorites, and it's basically because you can always make it out.
Oh, yeah.
There's always a way. And I'm going to lead you back a little bit. So sorry about that. You were talking about how your faith has left you healing. And I'm gonna speak in a foreign language here, and I'm so sorry if you don't understand me, but it's gonna be, I'm probably gonna butcher this for any of you native speakers. Plug your ears. It's Pater Raymond Ornis Agastito Omasu Ibaslesu. So
is that Latin or is like, don't know what you
said?
It
is ancient Greek.
Ancient Greek, okay.
Yes. And it is our Father who art in heaven. Hallowed be thy name. And I'm going to tell you that I know that you think from everything that you've described from having to build your confidence up to having to be able to get your words out that your book does not make a difference. And I'm going to tell you that your legacy will be lived on in that. You do not hear about the writers of the books of the Bible. You do not hear about the people behind it, but you hear the words that they left behind. And that is what they will hear from you. So if you want to know what your legacy is going to be, I actually have quite a list here, actually, surprisingly. Because I don't like a lot of people You're leaving a legacy of acceptance and self-forgiveness. And that is followed by being a God-fearing man who is trying to restore their faith in humanity. And
Thank
for
you.
somebody who, I really do not like humans. So for somebody who does not really like people, I will tell you it is very hard to see that. But you're also paving a way for people to get the help that they need.
Thank
And
you.
in this time, that is something that's so few and far in between. I cannot tell you the amount of older servicemen that I see who just look so shocked when you say thank you for your service. And they just look so flipped out, for lack of better words. I saw one 2 weekends ago, and he was packaging something up for me. We were out shopping, and I said, thank you for your service. And he said, why? I was like, you didn't have to put your life on the line, but you did. So for
Thank you.
every one of those moments that you think that you don't have that self-confidence and that ability to be more than you can, remember, you put your life on the line every day. And Terry, I'm talking to you too, because I know that you don't ever think good of yourself. And it probably freaks you out when I'm giving you compliments.
A lot.
But from the bottom of this nation, you have done more for the world than you could possibly know. If you ever get a chance to watch a movie, it is a violent movie, I'm not going to lie to you. And I just told Terry about it the other day. I think it's, oh Lord, it's a movie about an immortal warrior. And they can't see the difference that they make because you're so far deep in the story. I've heard so many times the stories that Terry tells me all the time. And I can tell you from the outside looking in, I see the difference. But you all can't because you're smack in the middle of it. So you need to change your perspective. But you can't do that when you are the story. So as much as it might pain you to have those late nights, those awful nightmares, those times when you want to be nothing but falling into a bottle, I promise you, there's a nation of people who is grateful for your sacrifice. And I'm going to be the first person to line up in a line and say thank you. Terry, I might tell you to go fuck yourself, but
Of course.
I will say thank you.
Well, thank you, Juju. And like I said, people like you made it all worthwhile. Thank you from the bottom of my heart.
I promise if you get to know me better, you might change your mind a little bit.
Well, for now, in this moment.
Very much so. Tony, I appreciate you so much for coming on. Thank you so much for giving me a chance. And I have one last question for you.
Go ahead, brother.
How the hell did y'all find me? Because I know you went through Eve. I can't remember.
Bailey, yeah. E. Bailey Media there in Los Angeles, and then Sophia works with her and for her. But yeah, they found you, man, and yeah, I'll do this. Of course, I think you reached out to me on my my Facebook page there. But yeah, I'm glad I could prove to you I wasn't a bot, man, and thank you for giving me a chance to come on here. And it was really a blessing, man, being here with both you guys. So thank you.
Yeah, I really appreciate you, man. But yeah, I was just like, it didn't make, like, for me, man, it shocked me. I was like, who the hell's emailed me about trying to be on a podcast? That's first.
I want you to know that was the night that him and I were catching up because life's been lifing. And yeah. I was like, are you being hacked again?
No, I went through the emails, like, it didn't go to a business, and I started going that. I emailed Eve directly from her business side, and then she emailed me back, like, I think beginning of this week, said, hey, did you ever consider Anthony? I was like, I messaged her back, said, I already got in touch with him, everything like that. I thought, and didn't know if he told you or not, but we did. We're planning for this Saturday. And she's like, she didn't reply back after that. I was like, okay, cool.
Yeah.
I was like, yeah, because it was just like, it's just fishy because, like, I'm starting the podcast out, and it's like, it's nowhere near a level of where I've looked at all your other podcasts are sometimes. So it's like, that just throws me off a little bit because, like, when people have reputations, stuff like that, then they tend to get more people coming in. I was like, this is a first. This is a very first. So thank you so much for being.
You're good, man. Thank you for having me. And like I said, there's been a couple times this has sort of happened, and like I always call. Like I called you right after. Like you gave me your number, right, just to tell you, hey, like I'm legit. I'm just getting started myself. So I'm sort of getting my feet wet with all this. And the more you do it, like, man, I compare it to like a a quarterback being comfortable in the pocket and he's getting rushed right. Like,
Yeah.
man, I couldn't even talk on the first one I ever did, man. It was so bad. My internet was bad. Like,
You
that's a
gotta
whole
find
nother
your
story.
voice, hon.
Yeah. So it's but thank you for having me, man. It's like I said, a privilege and honor and blessing to be here with you both.
Not a problem. All right. So I don't know if you've seen the ends of our podcast ever, but it's always where we tell the guests to please ask us questions, whatever you want.
Okay. Yeah. We're so where geographically are you both located? Texas yet? Houston yet? Gotcha.
I live in Delaware, and I live.
Delaware. That's right. You told me that. Delaware.
Yes, I'm a small state person, but I live right on the edge of a major city.
What's your favorite sports? Do you guys play sports?
For me, baseball and football. Yeah.
What about you?
I'm so sorry.
She's the 18th.
I don't watch sports.
Yeah.
The only running I do is for cakes.
There you go. Ain't nothing wrong with that.
Yes.
And then the last question for you both I got is, what's your favorite quotes of all time?
Actually, my favorite quote is one by Jordan Peterson. Which is it? Something? Actually, I'll pull it up now. Give me 1 second. I'll pull it up. No, you're good, man. Nobody ever asked me that.
I'm just a big I'm a big quote whore, man. So I love quotes, you know.
It's Jordan Peterson. So you should be a monster, an absolute monster, and then you should learn how to control it. That's my favorite quote. And everybody's just like, because the big society saying you should be soft. And he also says a quote about like people capable of great violence. Like, you can't say you're capable of great violence if you're a good person. You can't say you're a good person if you're not capable of great violence, because you have to be capable of great violence and learn how to control that to say you're a good person, because you choose not to take that route. So, you know,
that's deep. Yeah.
Bits and pieces.
Awesome. Heck yeah.
Juju, your favorite quote?
I have quite a few, actually. I'm more of a quote whore than most people, but we're gonna pick two of them. It's better to burn out than to fade away, than to find a place inside where there's joy, and that joy will burn out the pain.
Ah, deep. You guys got some good ones.
And then
I have a whole board of them.
And then there's one Bible verse I will always say, it's always my favorite. Iron sharpens iron. Proverbs 27:17. And most people like know me, that they know my background. They like, I used to be religious, very much religious, and I'm trying to figure out what to do with that now. But that quote has always been something forthcoming all the time. Because, you know, iron sharpens iron, is one man sharpens another. We all help each other out in one way or another, either it's good or bad.
Oh, yeah.
It's all right. My last quote is probably Terry's favorite version of me, which is, "Don't mistake my calm, kind spirit for weakness. I spit fire when I need to."
Awesome.
Yeah. Yourself, Terry.
All right. Anthony, any closing statements you got to make before I close this out?
No, brother, I appreciate you both, and it's been a fun one. Thank you. This one felt right.
Oh, well, I appreciate that, man. This felt really great for my first. To me, this is one of the big ones for me that I was like, I'm going to prepare for this. I'm going to make sure everything goes in a way that I want it to.
He did.
I changed it right before, like today. I changed it again. It's like, we're changing this. I don't like it anymore.
I'm going to let you know, he called me at 5 p.m. and I had just gotten home. And he's like, "What are you doing?" I was like, "Making dinner." And he goes, "You need to do your hair tonight." I was like, "Excuse you?" He said, "You had to do your hair tonight." I said, I do. Okay, sure.
It's all good. All right, everybody.
I prefer to be homeless.
All right, everybody. Check out Moonchild by Anthony Dyer. Great read. It's a good time. Honestly, if you deal with anything PTSD, trauma-related, or addiction, it's a good starter for that path. It gives you real-life accounts from him, and it's a fantastic time. If you have any questions or anything like that, or want to reach out to him yourself, his contact information, everything like that he needs for official purposes will be in the comments. And yeah, thank you for joining the raid. I hope y'all have a great one.
Thank you, guys.